Activision devs do not play their own game. It's not your dad doesn't support you.
You should know, you worked at a coffee shop, you stupid bitch.
My name is Casey, and absolutely not fucking Tanner, because my parents don't hate me that much.
Hey, did they have just 8 patches lined up, but they just didn't release them because they were on break? No, you moron kids.
Then we'll, of course, get into it. Change your fucking name and get scammed. He's feeling under the weather.
I probably won't say another word until Stay Humble, so have a good pod, Raz. I'll be here listening.
Got it. Oh, we are live! Welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 230. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. I am joined once again by, matching for the first time in a very long time, my good friend Tanner. Tanner, you're matching today. Is it a special occasion?
Am I?
I like it. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Black and white match with everything, and then you have your Tiger Lily ear pads or whatever.
Tiger Lily, yeah. We'll call them that. Sure. Cool, man. Hey,
What's
going on?
Aren't those the color of the...
It's like
Tiger
red.
Lily,
it's
a flower?
It's like red tiger camo from COD is what it looks like.
Okay.
Bitch. Not Tiger Lily.
Got it. Whatever. It's a porn star or something. It probably is.
Tiger Lily.
Welcome to the
porn
show.
Star?
I would assume so. It sounds like a porn star name, doesn't it?
We can look it
Tiger
up.
Lily. Maybe Lily Tiger would be more like a porn star name.
Tiger Lily. That's a plant for sure.
It is a plant. Okay. Yeah.
It's like
That's what
a
I
Lily
said.
Tiger. No, neither are porn stars.
Nothing. Interesting. Shocking.
That's cool.
Welcome to the
whoever
show.
Whoever needs a new porn star name, there you go.
Yeah, Lily Tiger Lily. We're live. So if you're new here, today we will not be talking about the hub. Patreon.com/thedropshot for that. We are going to be talking about Call of Duty. We do timestamp the episodes, so if you wanted to skip to whichever sections you find relevant, look in the video description or the show notes. You can find timestamps for your convenience. Now, before we get into the episode today, not many announcements. We just recorded and released our latest Patreon episode, which was a behind-the-scenes episode. It's available to our Damascus Chads. It was a fun episode. We went pretty long because there was actually a lot to talk about, which is kind of how we introduced that episode anyway. Because we had done our last behind the scenes maybe 3 weeks ago, and we normally like to space them out more than that. But a lot has changed since then. We've gotten no feedback really yet. Cringe. So if you're a Damascus patron, go listen to the goddamn behind the scenes episode, because we could use some feedback. We could use some advice. And once you listen, that'll be clear. Steel Switch did give us some advice to start drop shipping again, but that's, yeah, well, I didn't reply yet, but if you're listening, Steel Switch, the merch is shittier if you do that, what you suggested, and we make way less of a cut.
Way less.
And you pay the same amount either way.
It's probably cheaper. You may have paid $5 to $10 less. A lot of it was because I think the shipping was a lot cheaper, but it's like $5 or $10 more for the much higher quality stuff we have now is absolutely worth it for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. We didn't. Plus, the other thing was like, there's no hype in just always having drop ship merch available. It's like we would sell a lot less of it if there wasn't like drops regularly. That's the other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And just way less control too. Like we literally picked out our everything. Not the mugs. The mugs we said get fucking mugs, but like the apparel, the shit that matters. We were like, okay, we're gonna like look at a couple shirts, try them on, pick a good one. So anyway, yeah, that episode is live though for you Damascus patrons. There was a lot of behind the scenes shit this month. So
yeah, that was
and I think that's really
that was a really good behind the scenes ep actually. That was one of my favorite ones we've done.
I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, you like that one particularly, huh?
Oh yeah. Did you order that bicycle yet?
No, I texted my mom this morning though. I said, "Do we own a bike that works?" So we'll see.
Text her instead of going and talking to her. That's cool, man.
She's probably not home. I didn't check though. She could be home. I don't care though.
You don't care about your mom.
She can get back to me.
Ship it.
Well, hey,
We'll move
it's not
on.
Mother's Day anymore. I love my mother and suck on my balls. Suck on my cock and balls. All right. So other than that, I don't think we have any other announcements, do we?
No. TikTok's
Got
hitting. The one I posted like an hour ago is already at like 15 hundo.
Ooh, yum.
Yummy.
What's the last one you posted?
The Monarch event. That little sucker.
Operation Monarch wasn't what they said, huh? That one?
2,000 so far.
On the tube, that YouTube short is 1.4.
Damn. That's a lot of
hitting.
A lot of publicity right there.
That's a lot of impressions.
We can start signing your guys' merch for an extra $20 since we're famous now, by the way. So
we're gonna get super famous, yeah. Lots of hella engagement on these suckers, dude.
Yeah.
We got a comment on the UGR. We got a comment on what's another one? Operation Monarch flopped. 43 likes. Someone said nerds.
True.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Someone wrote a really long comment. I like this take. It makes sense. I did like how KK was jumping around King Kong. Okay. Was jumping around throwing rocks. That was a W. Typical short form commenter unironically uses the phrase a W and a L, by the way. Only question is, in your opinion, what do you change about Godzilla? Because I agree, he could have been more involved. Great
He could
comment.
have moved. That would have been good. Yeah, moving would have been dope.
Moving
Not
would have been
standing
cool.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing something would have been cool for sure.
I'm going to type that. Moving his character a bit more, to be honest. But KK was indeed getting active.
Yeah, that is a good
which
point.
Which was a fat W. You got it. You got to.
Did you spell fat P-H-A-T?
I should have. I think that's actually too old for the kids these days. You got to get to their level.
Someone
you got to get to the
nerds,
short form
huh?
commenters levels.
We've had more toxic comments on YouTube Shorts than the TikTok so far, which is shocking, actually. Very shocking.
That is shocking, actually. Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, this guy is mad. So the guy that said nerds on our Fortnite Does It Better clip, the same person said, then don't play, you whiny babies, space, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Nobody will miss you, nerds, space, exclamation mark. Fantastic. Thanks for the engagement, bud. Appreciate that. Let's see if he's 3 for 3, dude. Let's see. Do you think he's 3 for 3? Do you believe?
No, I think he's 2 for 3. I think he went 2 for 3.
Okay, let me go to the third one here. Yeah, 2 for 3. F.
Yeah.
Still.
Do you upload all the shorts at the same time?
I did last time, and I immediately realized I should schedule them.
Yeah,
I'll do
they
that
should
next time.
Yeah, skip them out or spread them out a couple days.
I'll just do, like next time I'm going to do upload the pod right away, like always. And then if I make 3 shorts, I'll make 1 short the next day, the next day, the next day. That's what I'll do next time. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, those are going pretty well. All right, so today, the topic of this Don't Say Sigma commenter this episode is the state of Warzone. So for those of you who have been around for a long time, we used to have the idea that we would do a state of the game address every 3 or 6 months. I don't remember what our idea was. I think it was 3 months, which we did not keep
3
doing
months
because the reality is not a lot changes in 3 months anymore like it used to. Like in BO4, a state of the game address every 3 months would have made sense because that would have been like probably 4 or 5 new guns.
Pay to win busted guns, yeah.
Insanely overpowered guns. New maps, a lot of new maps. Maybe a new operator. And like patching and like bug fixes. Well, not bug fixes, excuse me. But like patches at least, like balancing maybe. But when Warzone came out, I mean, like sometimes Warzone would change a lot in 3 months. Oftentimes it wouldn't. And then the base game would very seldom change in 3 months. I mean, look at Vanguard. from now till 3 months ago? What's different? 2 maps?
There's
the state of the game is
really
exactly
just
the same.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not much to say. But still, we did used to do these, and we're going to do one today, right now, on Warzone. And the way we have formatted this, because the last time we did a state of the game address on Warzone was way fucking different. So there's a lot to talk about. And we have formatted it in the following way: good, neutral, bad, closing thoughts. Within each category in no particular order. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Good.
We gonna jingle or what?
Yeah, let's get a jingle. Fuck it. I don't care. Jingle us up.
Seaball, thanks for the prime for 14 months. I'm never getting these 14 months back. You sure aren't. Get fucked, Seaballa 20. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
The state of Warzone. Starting with the good. Let me also add quickly, we will probably end up having forgotten some things, because the last time we did a state of the game address for Warzone, so much was different that we will have forgotten things that have been added since the last time we talked about Warzone. Sorry. But we've included quite a lot, I think. And now we're going to get into it. Good. First, Ricochet anti-cheat. It is working pretty well. Before Ricochet, cheaters were at a 10 out of 10. There were days where we would see, I'm not kidding, some gameplay streams we did, 2 out of 3 games would have a cheater in it.
Did you say on Caldera?
No, on Verdansk.
Oh. I mean, minimum, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
That was probably at its worst. 2 out of 3 games would have like a cheater.
I think the worst time we had it was 6 games in a row with blatant rage hackers. That was in the final months, probably like 5 months before Verdansk ended. That lull where the player base really dropped off and it was like the lowest it had been. Yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah, so then Ricochet came out. And there were still an amount of cheaters, but fewer. And now we're getting to a stage, it seems to me, at least in my lobbies, where there are maybe still quite a few wall hackers, which means they can see you through walls. They always know where you are. But there aren't many blatant aimbots I see anymore. I don't remember the last time I saw, well, I do remember the last time I saw a blatant aimbot. It was like a month or 6 weeks ago. And I've been playing a fuck ton, especially when Iron Trials was out. So, that's good. Now, I wish they would also stamp down on, what is the phrase? I don't know, clamp down on?
Clamp
Whatever.
down? It's not stamp down, I know that. You can stomp out the cheaters.
That's another one, yeah. There's a phrase there somewhere, but it doesn't matter. And I forgot what I was saying. Cool. What was I saying, Tanner?
Ricochet's working again. Finally.
Yeah.
Ricochet is in currently the best spot it's ever been, which is kind of what you would expect. Didn't work real well at first.
Kind of what we expected to, what we predicted.
Yeah, so over time. Yeah, so I think finally it is finally in a good spot. Yeah, you absolutely. I don't remember the last time I saw a rage botter. You'll see people like aim locking though still, not just like on Verdansk you would see people blatantly just spinning around shooting everyone
just
through everything.
Botting, yeah.
That you saw quite often, flying through the air, all sorts of stuff like that. All you see with this is it's like foot pedal type aim lock that people have. Like they'll aim and just track you perfectly from a range, and then you'll be like, that look kind of sus, and then you'll watch the kill cam, and yeah, they're like a level 20, but it's not just like straight up botting anymore. And I'm sure there's tons of wallers still, yeah.
True.
But it is working, and yeah, there are a lot of clips now of cheaters getting banned live, because it does say, like, when people disconnect on the left side of your screen, bottom left, it'll say like has disconnected or something. When people are banned, it says blank was removed. And I've seen a lot of clips of that. It even happened to, like, I think Lag and Jake and them that one time when they were fighting a hacker, all of a sudden the guy disappeared and it said was removed. So that means they're getting live banned. So it's definitely working the best it's ever been, and that's excellent.
Yeah, for sure. And we were never under the illusion that cheating would go away. I think, though, still, that, I mean, this is obviously good. Fewer people are cheating. Potentially. Fewer people are aimbotting, definitely. Fewer people are cheating, I'm actually not sure.
Well, yes, definitely.
Because I think a lot of people are still walling. And that is, like, really annoying. Obviously. And it's very hard to win a gunfight against someone who knows where you are at all times. If you guys find snapshot grenades to be annoying, imagine 10 of the people in your lobby, if you're in high SBMM, have perma snapshots on every person in the game. Smile. Good luck. Good luck. It's real hard. It's really annoying. So on the one hand, yeah, the cheating situation's probably better than it's ever been. But on the other hand, it's still not, I think, where it should be. And certainly not where a kernel level anti-cheat ought to be. You should see as few wallers as we see aimbotters, which I just am not convinced is true. There are a lot of times where I die and I'm like, dude, there's no reason he should have known I was coming there. Or like tracking me through a wall. And it's like, okay, cool, man. I was watching Iron last night and he died to an all of the above cheater in solos. He got like second place. Came across the airfield, died, got shit on. Watch the kill cam, and the guy's just tracking him through like 4 buildings the entire time. And as soon as Iron peaks, dead. It's like, okay, cool, man. But I think people tend to cheat more in solos than any other mode as well, because if you're the type of person who's going to aimbot or wall hack in Warzone, obviously you have personality defects and you're a piece of shit, and therefore you don't have many friends, so you don't have anyone to play with. So of course you play solos. No one wants to play with you. So you will see more cheaters in solos, I think. I genuinely stand by that assessment. Sounds like a joke. I'm actually not kidding. I think the type of people who cheat are just not, they don't have many friends. So you're going to see more cheaters in solos, I think, than anywhere else. But yeah, still, again, to go back to the good note, there are fewer cheaters, which has been fine. For sure. Yeah. So, yeah. What do we have next here, Tanner?
Next up here, gun balance is in a pretty good spot. Typical with Warzone, it took them entirely too long to do it, but Vanguard ARs are finally getting some love after being just utter trash compared to Cold War ARs since Caldera came out. They've been garbage. People tried to make them work, including us. Some people still thought they were good, which was just never true compared to EM2, C58, Cold War AK, XM4. Any Vanguard AR was worse than those 4 guns right there. So
correct. Yeah.
That is finally, I think, not the case. XM4 still all around is very similar to like the STG, I think. STG just still feels off to me, but it definitely, time to kill and everything, it's a lot better than it was. So those are finally getting some love. Finally in a pretty good spot. Yeah, I guess that's it for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Vanguard ARs are finally usable now. Like Tanner just said.
The SMGs had been good. It was just the ARs mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, it was mostly the ARs. But now the AR meta is actually fairly diverse. People like will use the automaton, for example, which is better than it used to be because it did get buffed. Still, I don't think worth using, but like people think it is, so that's cool. It's a Vanguard AR that people are using. STG. And then like the Cold War AK is still very viable. The XM4 is probably the best AR in Warzone right now. C58 is probably still viable. I haven't looked at it in a while. You know, so the AR meta is like fairly diverse. It's decent. We've had better AR metas and we've had worse AR metas, but this one's fine. And at least there are some new guns that have entered the fold.
Have we had better AR? Well,
yeah, I think
so. All around in terms of balance, no, I don't think. When has there been a better AR meta than now? I mean, I don't like this meta, but it's definitely the most balanced it's been.
I think
I preferred it when it was the Cold War AKs because they were so much better, but realistically, that wasn't very good weapon balance.
Well, I think when Caldera came out, the AR meta was really good because, but it just wasn't any of the Vanguard ARs. So like the Cold War AK, the EM2, the C58,
Extreme M4.
the XM4. Is there another one? Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, but that's already 4 like super competitive ARs, and you could pick one depending on what you want, which is pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong on that, but it's pretty close to. But there have definitely been worse AR metas. We can agree on that. And then the SMG meta right now, as it has been for a while, is fairly good too. I would say this is close to the best SMG meta we ever had, which was the end of Verdansk, where every fucking Cold War SMG was really good for different shit. We're kind of close to there. We're not there yet, I don't think. I don't think we're quite as diverse as it was at that time, but it's pretty close. Like the Owen gun is the equivalent of what like the Milano used to be, except the Milano is still used also now. So like you can add those both. What else are people using a lot? The Type 100 would be kind of like the OTS-9 of today.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What else? The MP40 would kind of be like the MAC-10 of today. Just easy to use.
Well, it's dog shit at
solid
range,
at
though.
Everything.
I guess if you don't use the short barrel, maybe, but
Depends
everyone
on the
uses
setups,
a short barrel. Well gun.
Well gun. Yeah, what would the well gun be like? Nothing. It's its own kind of deal, right? Would a well gun have an equivalent?
To. I was actually thinking.
Nothing,
I mean, well gun's more like a Mac than a.
I agree. Besides, the fire rate difference is wildly different. But yeah, but in terms of everything else, like its range, its versatility, and its low recoil, I would say all of that makes it similar to a Mac 10. The fire rate doesn't; it's less forgiving. But besides that, yeah, it's super similar. I agree. So yeah, like the SMG meta is really good too. And that applies to attachments as well. And this is a new feature of Warzone that has never been the case. I don't think really ever, because there were like in that SMG golden age, there were a bunch of SMGs you could use, but if you picked an SMG, there was one setup to do, maybe two. You could do a Tiger Team Spotlight or like a Raider stock. Like those are that's your variety. That's it. Everything else is just a shit setup. But now it's like some people are using subsonic on their SMG so that they can stay off minimap. Some people are using lengthened so they can get more range out of it. And other things too that I think are the case.
I mean, even like the different mags, like people using different mags for the Owen gun,
different
and whatnot.
Barrels, like the shrouded barrel versus like the rapid fire barrel on the well gun. I see really good players using both of those. So like the attachment meta actually for SMGs is more diverse than it's ever been. Which is nice. It's cool because you can use. It does give you more variety in a sense. And I guess this would be one of the advantages of the 10 attachment system that Tanner and I have perhaps been overlooking a little bit, that is now coming to, I don't know, coming to pass, coming to be observed, which is nice. But yeah, I think the gun balance is in a fairly good spot right now. Close to as good as it's ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's been nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of guns being used. Are you using subsonic or lengthened mostly now?
Subsonic.
Yeah, the more I thought about it, it's like, especially if you're using a gun like the Type 100, you won't even get a hit marker past like 12 meters anyway. So it's like, why do you even need lengthened? I guess you may as well run subsonic.
Yeah. That's exactly my thought process as well.
I think it depends on what you're
using. If I was using like an Owen gun,
yep,
I would use lengthened
with like the longer barrel or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or like the well gun.
Or if I was using like a well gun as a sniper support gun, like Iron does, I would definitely use lengthened.
Yeah.
But I don't. If I'm not sniping, so I just use subsonic, because if someone's farther than 10 meters, unless I have the Jack 12, of course, then I'm not using subsonic. Then I'm using a 20 round drum or fucking magazine, and jacking kids off.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I am forced to use an SMG, yeah, subsonic just seems to be the way to go, because if they're far enough away, I'm just using like an axial. You can shoot 15 meters, no problem really. So. Yeah. Next, loadouts are easier to get than they used to be on Caldera. There were a variety of, well, sort of. When Caldera first came out, it was the easiest thing in the world to get a loadout because each box had $20,000 in it. And then that went away, and then we went through a drought. We went through the great Caldera recession of 2022. Which was not fun and exciting.
Well, it wasn't easy. We had to wait 10 minutes before we can get it when Caldera came out, so that's not true.
True. Yeah, fair. That's fair. Yeah. But like now with all the loadout changes, plus the money changes and the satchel changes, and the addition of new contracts, and top secret and sabotage and all that, which we'll get into, loadies are a lot easier to get than they most of the time were to get on Caldera, which is a good thing because loadouts are what make Warzone Warzone. Without loadouts, this would be a barely passable battle royale game that no one would play. It would be less popular than Blackout was without loadouts. No question. So the fact of getting loadouts sooner is good. And it makes the game more fun for everyone. So this has been nice as well. Even if the first free loadout is bait a lot of times, which Tanner and I talked about at length a couple episodes ago, at length, you can still just not get that and still buy a loadout pretty fucking easily now. So this has been a good change as well.
Yeah, it's nice. That's what's a lot better now compared to launch of Caldera, is being able to actually get a loadout. Yeah, it's like super contested, can be camped, but it's still nice having it drop like a minute and a half into the game, basically, versus having to wait 5 to 7 minutes when Caldera launched. And it really sucks that they did that and they left that loadout change for that long, because I really think that like killed off the game for a lot of people and just like had them right away right off Caldera, because it was so boring having to use their horrible ground loot guns that we said they don't know how to design ground loot guns, so they're all dog shit, and then no one ever can use a fun gun. And that led to like a very boring launch of the new map, is having to deal with that. So yeah, it is great now that we're back to getting loadouts right away, and money is in a better spot than it was 2 months ago for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's more spread out. It's not at factory anymore. It used to, all the money was at factory. Now they finally spread it out. So that's good. Yeah. Though. Opens up other POIs, opens up the other, the two POIs that are, you can land on because they're going to be in the first circle. Yeah.
Correct.
So, yeah. But yeah, that's loadouts are in a really good spot for sure.
Yeah.
With the timing.
And then that leads to the next point, which I think is the most good point. I think this is the best thing they did. Collection of things they did. For all of Warzone, I think this is the highest note that I'm going to talk about today. Is all of the genuinely very good quality of life changes we've gotten in Warzone since the last time we talked about it. Multiple gas mask fixes. Parachute deploy height. Being able to drop gas masks, not getting a confirmation window on the buy station, the balloons, there's more.
Changes the gas canisters not blowing up everything within 50 meters.
Yep, being able to loot plates out of satchels. There are more, but those are already really big. this is like the best thing about, the adding a plate fills 50 health rather than the current plate you're on. That's another one.
Yeah.
This has been really, really, really good and has contributed to a lot of a better gameplay experience. And it took them entirely too long, but they finally did it at least.
Way too long, yeah.
There are still more quality of life changes we need to be added, which we'll get into, don't worry. But this is the highest note in my view on Warzone, because you might think, oh, well, a plate adding 50 health instead of just filling up whatever bar I'm currently on, that's not that big of a deal. I'd rather get a new SMG. Hey, listen, I get why you would think that, okay? But how many times are you going to insert a plate if you play Warzone a lot? Hey, hundreds of thousands, maybe thousands of times are you going to be putting in plates. So that is actually quite important. How many times did I die to the gas mask animation before the change? Dozens, probably, actually. How many times has the Call of Duty community writ large died to a gas mask animation before any of these quality of life changes? Literally hundreds of thousands of times. So these are the most important thing in a video game. Dumb little shit that shouldn't be in the game getting fixed. And they've done that. And that's really good. Does it mean that much to me now for Warzone? Sort of. Because I will be playing until Warzone 2 comes out. But also not really, because I'm just waiting for Warzone 2. But the more broad and important point is that we can expect all of the quality of life changes that have been made in Warzone 1 to be in Warzone 2 on day one. And that's what I'm very, very happy about. They're not going to have the gas mask animations come back for Warzone 2. If they do, it will be unintentional that it works the way it used to.
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
which means it would likely get fixed really soon after launch. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's nice that we have these changes now. Took them entirely too long, like you said. But yeah, more than anything, I agree that this is just setting us up to assume and know that all of these changes will be on launch with Warzone 2, which may actually, dare I say, lead to a seamless transition from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2 and not have to worry about having any of these problems that we, dealt with for a long time. I mean, theoretically, they're setting themselves up for a fantastic launch, going back to we'll have 30 total guns instead of 100, 200, 300 guns. We'll start with an amount of guns, and all these fixes that they've done this year will, hopefully be in Warzone 2, I would imagine. So that's, I think, that's the most important point. The quality of life changes have been good, yeah. A lot of them, though, were more Caldera specific, like the parachute stuff. That was one of them that would have been nice on Verdansk, but is way more important on this map. So things like that were, not always a problem, but they became a problem with the new map.
They became more of a problem with the new map.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. But, yeah. Yeah. So that, I think we've covered that. Next is the perks. Perk changes have been really good. Adding perks has been cool. The Ghost nerf is the best perk change they've ever made. And that has really changed the landscape of Warzone a lot, which is good, because when these changes did happen, it did breathe new life into Warzone for a time. Now that is worn off since then, because we got Combat Scout added. That changed the meta a lot. Not as much on Verdansk as when Caldera came out, but it did change up the meta a fair amount and freshen things up. And then we got, fuck me. Holy shit, what am I thinking of? I don't know. We got, what else? What other perks did we get? We got Tempered, Combat Scout. I don't think we got any other new perks, right?
Tempered,
Combat and then we got the
Scout.
Ghost change.
Yeah.
And then we got the Ghost change, which fundamentally changed more recently, fundamentally changed the Warzone meta, which again freshened things up quite a bit. And Warzone still does feel kind of different than it ever used to. There is still, for me, some novelty with the ghost change. Because now when I pop a UAV, I'm like almost positive. If I'm in quads and I pop a UAV and I see no red dots in dig site, I'm basically certain there's no one there. Because if there's a team at dig site, they would all have to be running ghost and moving at the same time. And that's just so unlikely that I don't think it's ever happened to me since the ghost change. If you're playing solos and duos, yeah, sometimes you'll call ghost or call UAV, think no one's there because you're aware of the ghost changes, and then someone is there, and then you get fucked on. That's happened to me like twice. But besides that, it's really been quite good for the game, and that really did shake up the meta as well, and that was a good perk change as well.
Yeah, force field to move more helps the gameplay.
Yeah, for sure. And just, it disincentivizes ratting a lot more. Like, you have to be afraid when a UAV gets called now, if you're not ghosted. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
They know where we are. And that's been good. It makes the game more lively. And especially that was needed on Caldera, because it's real easy to rat in Caldera. If you don't want to be found pre-ghost changes, there are an infinite number of hiding spots you could take where you could just not be seen if you really don't want to. So that was a really good change as well. And if these perk changes carry over to Warzone 2, that would be quite good. I think the Ghost one certainly will. I don't think they'll ever go back to Ghost functioning the way it used to.
Yeah, agree.
For Warzone 2. The only thing I would be concerned with is Combat Scout. I think that perk is just a little too good.
Yeah.
I think it's just a little too good. And then it completely... Basically, when I make a class, I'm only picking 2 perks. Because I have to run Cold-Blooded. I have to run Cold-Blooded to counter Combat Scout. So now you've limited my choice quite a bit, actually. Like, I'd like to run Quick Fix. I would really like to try that out. Can't. Just can't. I'm not going to not run Cold-Blooded and get raped by Combat Scout, because I know how good that perk is. I hope that doesn't carry over to Warzone 2. But besides that, I think the perk changes, by and large, have been very good, and they've served to freshen up the game a bit. What are your thoughts?
I'm with you on Combat Scout. It's nice to have, actually, on Caldera when they're like out in the open, because it helps you with tracking people, but it is entirely too good, and it's just gotten to the point where it is annoying. Yeah. I can almost see a nerf to it coming, because I feel like a lot of people are just finally fed up with it, but who knows. But overall, especially the Ghost change, that was good. I actually assumed that would make a lot less people use Ghosts. I'm looking at Warzone Ranked right now, which is updated daily. At the amount of, like, the pick rate for each individual perk. Mm-hmm. More people still run double time over Cold-Blooded. Yeah. Which is insane to me. It's probably Rebirth players doing that, now that I think about it. I forget how many people play Rebirth, so it's different. But Double Time,
even on Rebirth, has never run it, though. Has
a 40% pick compared to Cold-Blooded, a 30% pick. And then this one's even more shocking. So Perk 2, Overkill, obviously 69% pick rate, because everyone gets their Overkill class. Nice. Ghost is still picked 17% of the time compared to Restock at 5%. Yeah. Restock has a 5% pick rate. That is insane.
That is crazy.
It goes to show you that goes into the skill-based matchmaking, because in our lobbies, no one uses Ghost. Every person I come across has Stim Restock, always.
Or Tempered. Those are the 2 I see.
Tempered is the second least picked second perk. You're seeing it because people are looting it.
That's
people aren't
possible too.
Taking it. It's
possible too, for sure.
The only thing picked less than Tempered is Point Man. I mean, more people use Hardline than High Alert. It's always crazy looking at these at these charts, because they just shock me. I'm like, how are there more people taking Hardline over the High Alert perk?
Yeah, that's
crazy
insane
to me. But anyways, yeah. Overall, the Ghost change especially definitely incentivizes people to move more. I mean, there are still people that don't move. Was that during whose stream was I watching? One of you guys was streaming, and someone was like, how did you know I was there? I think it was like lag or someone. They were playing with like Bandit. They were like, how did you know I was
when
there?
We won, I was there.
Yeah. And he's like,
an advanced UAV.
He was like, I had Ghost. How did you know I was there? And it's like it's those type of players that are also picking Ghost, of course, you know.
And Bandit was like, advanced UAV, buddy. And the guy was like, oh, advanced UAV shows it. And then we were like, yeah, it just doesn't show the direction if you have Ghost, but it still shows your dot. Yeah. And he's like, oh shit, because he's ready to call hacks on Bandit, which Bandit does cheat, but not for that reason, because we did actually have an advanced UAV up. We were doing hella big game bounties that game. Yeah. But I agree. Perk changes have been nice. The lootable perks we'll talk about later. They've been nice, but I'm over Combat Scout. I would like it nerfed. I agree. It's just too good. And this is coming from someone who uses Combat Scout all the time. Oh yeah. I use Combat Scout. I fucking love
it's
Combat
like a crutch.
Scout.
You kind of have to.
But it is a crutch, yeah. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And I would miss it as a user, but it's just too good of a perk. It's so much better than everything else that it needs to be augmented. I think the way I would nerf it is like, you can only get the highlight once every 2 seconds. So like if you're ripping someone constantly, they don't just stay glowing orange.
So they add a delay.
Like, so yeah, it's like you first bullet, they light up for like maybe, I don't know, whatever, 500 milliseconds or whatever it is now. And then once that goes away, they can't be lit up again for another 1 second or 2 seconds or something. And then if you continue to get shots on, they light up again. I think that would be a way to balance it. Because if it didn't light them up at all and it just pinged them, it would be the most dog shit perk ever. But if it continues to light them up every single time you hit them, it refreshes, it's too good. So yeah, I think that would be like the best way to balance it to where it would still be super good, but I could see people switching off of it for amped in that case. And you could survive getting wall banged in that case as well. I think that'd be a good way to balance it.
Yeah, because it's kind of one of those things, again, where it seems like it's either too good or it's like really bad and then people just don't pick it, which, you know, I would rather it be too bad at this point, like I said.
Yeah.
Seems like it's difficult to balance to get it good but not overpowered.
I think there's a way to add like a refresh timer or like a cooldown.
I feel like that could get buggy though too, because then it's like, how do they code it for like 2 different people shooting at that person? How's that going to work? Is it only going to, you know?
Well, people only light up for the person shooting.
Yeah, but then it's like, is it going to still like ping them for your teammates, or how's that all going to work? I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. All right, well, moving on. The new contracts they've added have been ubiquitously good, in my opinion. They added Most Wanted. I think that was even added before.
They changed Most Wanted, you mean? Is that what you mean?
I mean, they added it, but they did also change it, which we should mention. I think we did a state of the game address after Most Wanted was added, though. But that was a new perk once upon a time, which is a cool idea. I like the idea of that perk. And now that they've changed Most Wanted's functionality, it's even better because it's not overpowered, but instead of not being worth doing in a super giga last resort, now it's just actually worth doing in general, but not overpowered. So that's really cool. And then they've also added Big Game Bounty, I think was the next new perk they added.
Big Game Bounty.
Maybe Top Secret was. But Big Game Bounty is really cool too. I think Advanced UAV is still a little too strong, to be honest with you. I think you should just get a regular UAV pop. But the risk reward compared to a regular bounty is worth mentioning. I think that's why you should get some bonus reward as opposed to a regular bounty. But the addition of that contract is really cool. Then the Top Secret contract, again, cool idea. You don't know what you're going to get, but if you do it, you get a bigger reward and a UAV. Awesome. And the Sabotage contract, now that they've balanced the Bertha, again, a solid contract that is worth doing, but is no longer overpowered. Great. This is all cool. And you can like tailor what contract you want to do depending on what the situation is for you. If I'm playing duos and we have no money, but we both want our gulag. What's the contract to do? Scav. Let's get some cash. Let's get some plates. Let's get some ammo. If it's quads and I'm on the ground, one guy won his gulag, one guy lost it, I can pick up a supply contract. My teammate can land on that. Boom. Like, you can tailor what contracts you're going to do because they're all worth doing. Just depends on what you want to do. That's very cool. And I'm a big fan of the new contracts they've added, and how they've balanced them, I think, has been very well done also. And the more contracts you add that are worth doing, like every contract is, the more you are incentivizing people doing those contracts, which means the more you're incentivizing people moving their characters, which is also good for the game because the more movement there is, the more action there's going to be. So I'm a big fan of the contracts, and I think they've only improved upon them with time, and they're in a very good spot right now. The contract meta is the best it's ever been. What do you think?
I agree, yeah. Big games, I think you're kind of looking at the perspective of like when you play on like a good team, and whenever we pick up a big game, we either get the kill or it gets poached. But I think for most people in the lobby, they're not even, a lot of times, they're scared to pick up that big game bounty because, like, say they're lower KD or something, and they don't think they could take on the highest KD or highest killing team that hasn't been marked yet, so they like won't even pick it up. So the advanced UAV is good, but it's like I feel like you do have to be a good squad to get that, because you don't get the advance when it gets poached. You have to actually kill them. So I think it's a good balance, because you're right, it has to be better than a regular bounty either way. So top secret, again, good change. I like how you get the UAV and everything. Most wanted, I think, is actually the best changes to the perk they've made, honestly, because most
100%.
wanted went from being only a last resort regain if you're the last person alive, and now it's like it pretty much used to be two things on Verdansk. It goes either you hot dropped super sore, something like that, and you grabbed a bounty and started killing everyone inside, or you landed somewhere quieter and you did a scav. Those were the only two things you did. But now it's like, oh, let's go capital, let's get this most wanted. We can knock that out quicker than we could do a scav easily. So you actually have options now. Oh, we can risk it and grab this top secret. Hope it's a most wanted. Hope it's a scav. Hope it's not a bounty that's just flying over us that we can never get. So I think there is a lot of like thought that goes into it now. Whereas it's like, okay, land super, get a bounty, and it's just and that's it. And then start fighting everyone, and it will get poached. It will always get poached.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're in a really good spot. Sabotage, I really like to. Entirely overpowered when they put it in the game. It's crazy they even put it in at that state, but it is fixed now. So that's good. It's in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing with big game bounties, I agree with everything you said. And I think you would be right if the big game bounty was always placed on the best team in the lobby. But when you have 6 big game contracts on the map.
True.
Then, because you can only have one bounty placed on you as a team per game. So let's say we are the best team. Someone picks up a big game bounty, it's on us. We piss shit and fart all over them. The next other third team, random team that picks up a big game bounty, it's not going to go on us. It's going to go on that second place team. But if they've had one, the third place team. If they've had one, the fourth place team.
Yeah, that's true.
So sometimes we have picked up big game bounties and it's on a team that's gotten 3 kills by fourth circle total. And that's where I'm like, holy shit, we rolled these fucking burger bots for free. This was absolutely not the best team in the lobby. And we got an advanced UAV where we're just going to snowball into the end of the game. That's when I feel like it's just too good. But you're right. In theory, it would be fine. Because if you did have to kill the actual best team,
that's true.
Or second best team, if it's you. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. But that's a minor point.
I do still think, though, that alone is going to hold back certain teams from even picking them up, because like, oh, I don't want to fight a better team than us, because that team picking it up may be the worst team in the lobby, and they're going to be scared to pick it up because they're like, oh, we can't win this gunfight.
Because even the top 5 teams are going to be better than they are. Exactly. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's true. All right. Next point, Tanner.
Last point here for the good. Iron Trial Iron Trials played really, really well on Caldera. I want this game mode in like permanently rotated out every other week or something. I think it was you talked about like last week or something. We had the idea of like it'd be dope if Iron Trials and buybacks rotated every week, and one of them was always in the game because those are two excellent. I guess you can consider them LTMs. Do 1 week Iron Trials trios, the next week buyback trios, the next week Iron Trials quads, the next week buyback quads. I think that would be really, really good for the game. I get their need and want to keep like Plunder and Clash in because it caters to lower skill players. They like those game modes. They have fun in them. The respawn mechanics. It's good for leveling up guns, so it serves a purpose for everyone. So I get that they can't just take those out entirely. One of those pretty much always has to be in Plunder or Clash, something like that. But it would be really dope if we could rotate Iron Trials and buybacks often. And it really is a shame because there's so many changes that they put into Iron Trials, and then it's just like never in the game. Like they make all of these changes, and then we get it. Like we don't get it until 5-6 months into Caldera's launch. Finally, it's just weird. I don't really know. And it's been in Rebirth just the one time, I guess now. But I don't know. I mean, they obviously have the numbers. Maybe the amount of people playing Iron Trials is really low, and in their opinion, it's not worth ever keeping in. Because I mean, realistically, the amount of people playing Iron Trials is probably far less than the amount of people playing Plunder when that's in. So they probably feel that they shouldn't keep it in that often, but that does suck because Iron Trials is excellent, creates somewhat of a skill gap compared to what Warzone has typically. It benefits higher skilled players versus having less health in regular BR. You're going to die in a lot of situations from BS mechanics or from someone shooting you in the legs every shot, and then you're shooting them in the chest and you still lose the gunfight. Stuff like that just doesn't happen as much in Iron Trials. And it's just fun having a longer time to kill. It really is fun. It just cuts out so much of the BS, the gulag, not having certain things in the gulag, the stun changes and whatnot. It's all really, really good, and I would just love for this mode to be in more often than it is.
And I think one of the biggest things, too, especially on Caldera, is that you can move around the map more safely in Iron Trials on a map that often has less than ideal cover. Like sometimes in regular BR, oftentimes in regular BR, you're on a rock in a circle, another team's on a different rock in that circle. A third and a fourth team are on 3 and 4 different rocks in that circle. And then the next circle pulls away from you and toward 2 of the other teams. And in regular BR, you just lost and there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. You're not going to kill them from behind the rock, and you're not going to get to that rock without dying first. Or you can just sit there and die to gas. Like those are your options. But in Iron Trials, when that happens, that you have just enough health in Iron Trials to maybe make it over there and then make a play that you can't do in regular BR. That is really nice about Iron Trials too. But yeah, I said this, I believe, on a Patreon episode, and I'll repeat myself here. When Iron Trials came out on Caldera, this last time it came out, I went from playing regular Warzone to Iron Trials. And I played for like a full day of Iron Trials, and I was like, yeah, it was really fun. Time to Kill didn't seem that much different, though, which is weird. That's what I said. So going from regular BR to Iron Trials, didn't notice the health difference that much. And I don't know how this, I still am befuddled. I have no idea how this is possible. Because then Iron Trials got taken away, and going from Iron Trials back to regular BR, first kill and or death I got, instantly massively noticed it. Yeah. It was shocking and jarring how fast the time to kill is. And I don't know how that happened. I don't know what is wrong with me, but it was an asymmetrical kind of change in my view. It felt very gradual going up to Iron Trials TTK, and then very sharp going back down the regular BR TTK. when in reality it was really just 300, 400, 300. I don't know why that was the case, but I do echo Tanner's sentiment that we really do need iron trials or buybacks every single day.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Always.
It really is that simple. I don't know why they don't do it. I don't know what they have to lose, honestly. Because they have to have the analytics. They have to know that these are insanely popular game modes. People fucking love buybacks. People love iron trials as well. Well, some people, I don't know, actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they made a blog post about that one time because they said, you know, you may think like you may really like a game mode, but we have the numbers and some of these just aren't that popular. And I do think it was actually about buybacks when they talked about that, because the people we follow on Twitter, this people we watch on Twitch are the top 0.1% of the player base who all love it. But you got to think of like the casual players, and obviously they aren't playing these modes as often or something, and that's got to be the reason they're not in.
Yeah, because
we have a skewed view of things.
That's true. Because to your point, they did Rebirth Resurgence solos. Everyone on the TL loved it. And according to Activision, it was super popular too. So guess what's in the game right now? Rebirth Resurgence solos.
Always, permanently, yeah.
So they're down to bring shit back if it is popular. So I guess iron trials and buybacks are just not as popular as I think.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, yeah, which is unfortunate. But I don't know, man. It's really disappointing playing regular BR after having played iron trials and getting so many bullshit deaths.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into that in this next section here. So now neutral. So now we're going to make neutral observations about the state of Warzone. This first one I think is the most important. As far as I'm concerned. And we will circle back to this in our closing thoughts. And this is my point. And all I've written down is this, quote, Caldera is italicized. Fine. End quote. End italics. And I'll say that again. Caldera is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. How does this map compare to Verdansk? I haven't talked about this in quite a while. Well, I did somewhat recently, but I am on record as saying Caldera is a better map than Verdansk. Do I stand by that? Yes. Barely, though.
Really?
Yes, barely, though. And I'm not even sure about it anymore. It used to be just a foregone conclusion for me, but the more I play Caldera, the more I'm like, man, I don't know. The strengths and weaknesses of each map are just so different for me that it's like the worst part about Verdansk is everything is a building that's 16 stories tall. But the worst part of Caldera is all of the insane elevation changes and a lot of times just not having any cover. So it's like, how do you compare, like which one of those things is worse? It's kind of a matter of opinion at that point, isn't it? So I think to really understand which map is better or worse, I would have to play Verdansk with all of the changes that have happened to Warzone since Caldera came out. So like, how would Verdansk be with balloons, with the parachute changes, with the plate changes, with the health increase, with the gas mask fixes, etc. With the new contracts? I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But I suspect Caldera would still be a little bit better. At least for me. But I no longer am like, oh yeah, Caldera is just an objectively better map. I don't believe that anymore. There's too much elevation. The peak is too tall. Fucking mines is too shallow. Every goddamn hill is at a 90% incline. It's too much.
Yep.
It's just too much. And if
Still can't mantle over anything.
Exactly, yeah. If the elevation changes were more gradual, then I would say, yeah, Caldera is just a better map. But it's not. And it's very annoying dying to fucking zone when you just, because you simply cannot, you don't have an ice pick and you don't have a red rebel and fucking paracord on you. Cool. I died of gas. Cool. Awesome. Tarkov reference. I have a red rebel, by the way. So, and paracord.
Cool,
so, Never used it once though. Quit the game right after I bought it. So yeah, Caldera is fine. It's a fine map. It's not terrible. It's not great. It could have been executed much better, but it's at least not worse than Verdansk. I will say that. And you guys, most of you probably prefer Verdansk. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, first of all, you probably might not, because might just be nostalgia making you think you prefer Verdansk, because you remember quarantining and getting paid more on unemployment than you used to at your dog shit minimum wage job, getting drunk at 12 o'clock every day and playing with all of your friends. And you're conflating that fun and exciting experience, because you're a loser, with Verdansk, the map, which is not a correct thing to do. But still, I would say, I don't know. The map is fine. What do you think?
We need something in between Caldera and Verdansk. Like you're saying, they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. Verdansk went from every gunfight being like 15 meters, so I couldn't win a gunfight ever in a building, to Caldera every gunfight being 75 plus meters is what it feels like. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating, but it's like, we just need something in the middle. We need something with a few hills here and there. Nothing like the level that we have on Caldera. And we need far less tall buildings like on Verdansk. Like, they went complete opposites on the maps, which was crazy, because no one really ever had anything too bad to say about Verdansk, and they went so far away from it. Which, it was something new to play Indifferent. And I still stand by the statement that I've said, is that Warzone would still be more boring right now if we had Verdansk. It is more fun now because we had Caldera. And it's just, it's different. No one would want to play Verdansk again for another year. I get you guys all want it back. Realistically, though, you would be not playing the game if we were still on Verdansk probably right now. Because they wouldn't have made... Everyone always says, like, oh, yeah, it'd be better with, like, the balloons and shit. 100% agree. They would have never done it, though. They only added the balloons on Caldera because everyone bitched about the elevation changes. People didn't bitch about that on Verdansk, so we would have never gotten that. Even to this day, there would have been no other map changes to that map, so it doesn't matter. We wouldn't have had all that. Do agree, though. Verdansk, with all these changes to Caldera that we've gotten post-launch, would be a way better map than original Verdansk or current Caldera. But, again, that will never happen, so it just doesn't matter. I agree, though. It's fine. It's got all the issues we talked about before it launched, is like, oh, the hills are fine if you can mantle over everything. And shockingly, you can't. You can mantle over a lot more than in Verdansk. You still cannot mantle over shit that I absolutely should be able to. And that's frustrating when you get stuck with these terrible rotations because you can't mantle over something that's as tall as your knees.
Yeah.
So that is bad. The map looks cool. It's like...
It's pretty.
It's neat being on like an island, but I think you said it best. It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much as I used to. I am pretty confident in saying, though, once this game ends and we're onto a new map with Warzone 2, I think both of us and just about everyone will say Verdansk was a better map. Agreed. It's just, I think it was just more fun too.
Warzone was newer back then too.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot. It's very hard for people, myself and Tanner included. It's very hard for any human being to separate a thing from everything else that was going on. This is, some people are like, oh man, I miss high school. It's like, do you? Do you miss high school?
Oh, no.
Or do you miss not having to go to work every day, not having bills to pay, and like not having to schedule your own dentist appointments? It's like, it's very hard for people to disentangle all of these things. And when people say they like miss Verdansk, it's like, do you? Or do you miss like everything else that was going on in life when Verdansk was a thing? Warzone was newer. You probably played with different people or whatever. There was more novelty. Again, the COVID shit. There's just so much there that's very hard to disentangle. And that's true for Tanner and I as well. Like, I'm aware that these things exist, but that doesn't mean I can like do it. Doesn't mean I can separate those things perfectly. I can't. No one can. But anyways, I will, let me add as an interesting point, and I'm curious, Tanner, give me a timestamp.
111.
111. Okay. I am curious what your thoughts are on this. I think Capital on Caldera is the ideal BR POI, and it is the best of both worlds between Verdansk and Caldera, because there are a lot of buildings, but most of them are 2 stories tall plus the roof. There's one really big tall building. That's it. And it plays way better than downtown because not every building is fucking 16 stories. And also, one side of Capital is the shore, so you can't, that no one's there. And then the other side of Capital is a hill going up, so that if people are outside of Capital, they're not exactly disadvantaged because they have elevation on you, but they're not exactly advantaged either because they aren't in a building like you. So it kind of makes those two positions equivalent. And I think Capital is a really, really good POI. And what I wish, for example, downtown in Verdansk would have been. I think it would have been way more fun. And I hope we see more of a Capital/resort vibe for Warzone 2 map.
Agreed.
What are your thoughts?
That's what I want to. I do think, though, if Capital was replaced on Verdansk with downtown, that it would still be bad, because there's really more spots to rat in Capital than there was in downtown. Because there's like so many windows. You can go in every building. There's a window on multiple levels. Verdansk, it was like you were either on the roof way up high or you were like bottom floor. So it's like it was a terrible POI. But realistically, Capital looks cool, but I don't know. We also just you don't go Capital as often as like you used to go like downtown. In Verdansk, you like have to rotate through it because it's never in the zone. So I don't know. I do like the visuals of it, though. I think it is a cool POI. I just don't necessarily think it would really be that much better than downtown when you like compare them.
I'm not saying transplant it into downtown, because you're right. But I think independent of what's surrounding it, I think Capital and the immediate surrounding area, that hill plus resort, and there's like a
Resort's
lot of open.
Cool POI.
It's just cool going from Capital to Resort too, because like you have to cross through like this area that's like pretty wooded, but also fairly flat in terms of Caldera and open.
Yeah,
and like that's kind of nice. It just, I think it plays super well. I really like the flow of Capital, and that's how you do buildings well. Not Promenade, which is the worst POI in Verdansk. Not downtown. Promenade fucking east is the worst POI. Yeah. Well, prison maybe actually. But second is Promenade East. That was the worst POI in Verdansk.
Yep.
And that is not how you do buildings. But like Capital is how you do buildings, I think.
Yeah.
I love the flow of it.
It does have a nice flow to it. Yeah. It feels good fighting there, but if there's too many people there, it becomes a disaster really quick. I just feel like normally in Warner Capital, there's like 2 other teams there, maybe. But if it's to the point where like there's 40 people sitting in buildings in Capital, that would be a fucking nightmare. That would be worse than 40 people sitting in like downtown on Verdansk, I think. Just think of all the windows.
There were definitely more windows in downtown. You're right though that people wouldn't camp most of the windows in downtown.
Yeah.
Like you can anticipate
you'd be on the roof or on the floor.
Downtown, exactly. Someone's either in first story or on the top. But then you look at Hospital. People were everywhere in Hospital.
Yeah.
People would be first story, second story, third story, fourth story, fifth story, sixth story, all the way up. They would be everywhere. That was a dog shit area. Dog shit POI Hospital. Fuck Hospital. Terrible, terrible POI. Hospital was like a Capital building, but it was 7 stories taller. That is Hospital. Really dog shit, trash POI.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right about downtown. Like, it is true technically. People could be on one of actually 18 stories. I don't know exactly how many. Something like 18, though. But they never were. They were either on the roof or at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. and I'm not articulating this well. Maybe because I don't even understand why Capital feels so much better than every POI in Verdansk, except Train Station. Train Station fucked. But it does, to me anyway. I maybe I just don't know why. But I really enjoy fighting in Capital.
Yeah.
Even when there's a lot of people, I think it's pretty fine. But this could also be because this is what I was saying about how it's hard to disentangle. This is probably also because of the ghost changes. Because if there's a lot of people in Capital, and we pop a UAV, okay, I know there's no one in this building. So I can go in here and like I won't die to some fucking rat. So yeah, it's hard. I don't know. I could be bugging.
I think a big part of it is the visuals. Capital is just like cool. It's neat looking. I don't know.
It also does look cool, yeah. But
that's why I like Resort. Is Resort a good spot to fight? I don't know. I've only fought there 3 times ever because I never get to.
Honestly, I don't like Resort. No.
Yeah, it looks really cool though. I like the idea of like having a cool little resort, but does it play well? Not really.
Yeah, it doesn't. The resort rooftop is like one of the most overpowered spots.
Nasty head glitch.
Caldera.
Yeah.
It has the worst head glitches I've ever seen on Caldera. I'm literally not kidding. If you're behind resort on the east side, like on the beach, where the outdoor bar area is.
Yeah, shout out to that bar, beach bar.
That's the first spot we ever dropped on Caldera. If you go there and then look at the rooftop of resort and someone is head glitching that, you will never kill them. You can't. It's not possible. It's the nastiest head glitch possible on that map. So yeah, resort isn't great for sure, but it's also easily avoidable because it's on the edge of the map. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Next neutral point, lootable perks, which is a recent change to Warzone.
Yeah, they're
these are fine. These are fine. I'm pleased to report, at least so far, that they are not like overpowered like I was afraid they would be. But that's because the pool of lootable perks isn't that busted. But even if it was, I don't think it would be that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I just don't think it. I think I overstated how much of a problem lootable perks could become. Because now I think about it, if you could even loot every single perk, you're not going to find every single perk.
Wow.
And if you do, it's like you're not going to be looting sleight of hand like specialist. I mean, it would be really bad if someone had every single perk, but that would just never happen. I don't know. But on the other hand, does it add much to the game? Not really. I mean, it's kind of nice when I loot restock and don't have to get my second loadie, or I can like get high alert instead, so I have high alert and restock. That's cool. I don't think it's game breaking like I said before the change happened anymore, which I'm very pleased to report. But I also just don't think it adds much to the game. I just don't really care. I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
I really do think this would be really bad and everyone would be molding if and when they make it so it shows what perks we have. I promise you, the second you get killed to some guy and you see he had cold-blooded, combat scout, 2 guns, so he had overkill at one point, he has restock, tempered, and high alert, and you get killed to him, you're gonna fucking mold. If he's running in the open and you're looking at him from behind and start shooting, and his high alert goes off and he gets to turn around before you start shooting and you die to him, you're going to fucking mold and blame it on the lootable perks. That's the thing that I said right away with them is like, they're fine, I think, but I don't even know because I don't know what people have, so it's like hard to get mad even because I see like tempered. I'm like, okay, I don't know if this guy just picked tempered or if he looted it. And that's like kind of the annoying thing, but also it's also kind of good because I just know the second that gets added in, if it ever does, I'm going to be molding nonstop about someone having 10 perks and me not having any because I just flew back in from the gulag. So I think that's where it stands. I
think you're onto something there, and you're right. I could be losing to people I wouldn't have lost to if they didn't loot tempered. I think tempered's probably the best example in that case. But the way I'm looking at this is I'm thinking, how many times have I won a gunfight since lootable perks got added that I wouldn't have won otherwise? I can't think of a single time.
We don't know.
At least that I was aware of. Like maybe I did loot quick fix and then barely win a gunfight I wouldn't have won without quick fix, and I just didn't notice. But like, that hasn't happened to me yet, which makes me think it's not happening to other people very often either. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. I will have to come back to this if they ever add in a list of what people have. You know, even if they add it in so it shows what perks you have, they'll never put it on the kill cam, so it actually won't matter. You won't ever see what the other player has.
I don't think you'll ever see it on the kill cam, yeah.
But yeah, anyways,
I think that's too much work for
they're
them.
fine. They were kind of, again, one of those things that seem to be hyped up a lot, and they are cool, but I don't know if it really changes the game that much. Yeah, I mean, it's good for me getting like restock and shit, not having to get a second loadout. But besides what's happening to me, I don't have any other information really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
there you go.
Next thing here, kind of getting into Rebirth a little bit. So season 2 Rebirth, there was the events where we had to get a certain amount of kills, which was kind of cool, by the way, having like the community events. I still don't know if they were real. I think they were just set on a timer and they faked the numbers. I don't think we got 60 billion kills in 2 days on Rebirth, but whatever. So those changes, you know, we got the little pinging towers where you can call in a UAV that does a sweep. We got the weapon trade stations. We got the vault where you can like get specialists with the little keys and whatnot, the key cards. Those made Rebirth feel different. Oh, and like the refresh that you got to the map, like some changes, some of the POIs, like the prison yard and whatnot. A few changes here and there. It was cool. It brought like a little fresh feeling. A week later, Rebirth felt the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they spent all the time on those changes. Nothing made Rebirth worse. None of those made it worse. But it also just still feels the same. I don't know. Like, whenever I watch streamers that are playing Rebirth, I don't ever see them use the weapon trade stations. I don't see them that often using the UAV pinging thing. This may be because I'm watching, like, Rebirth sweats that just run around trying to kill people. That was my next point, Reflex. Yeah, it also needs 300 health, I think, to become fun again. You get 1 frame to everyone. Every gunfight is within 10 meters, and you're just... It's an AA battle, and you're just getting... Everyone's getting 1 frame to everyone else, and it's very frustrating.
Yep.
The good thing I will say is that I think this brought more people over to Caldera. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that like they've kind of moved to Caldera with like the lighting changes and shit, which we got on Caldera, which didn't actually change anything, by the way, but Rebirth main seemed to think the map looks so much better with a lighting update. It doesn't look better. It's just a different shade. Yeah, so that's kind of cool that it brought more people to Caldera, because that's what we play. But Rebirth just, again, it's like Verdansk. It feels exactly the same that it did the day it launched in Warzone.
Yep.
The same gunfights, the same predictable shit every game. It's not interesting. That's why I think big map Warzone will always be more interesting to watch and play, because it's more unpredictable. Rebirth, it's the same shit every game. Watch the high kill Rebirth guys. What they do, they land the same spot, they get the same loadout at the same buy station, they get the same guns, they push the same places. They're really good. Yeah, I'm not taking that away from them, but it's just uninteresting to me, in my opinion. It's just the same thing over and over again. Predictable, boring fights.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you about the changes we got to Rebirth Island, the weapon trade station, the UAV thing, the bunkers too, and the static spawns of really good ground loot on Rebirth. These were all good changes. They were all good additions to the map. They were all interesting and fun and not overpowered, but also worth doing. The balloons too. That's all well and good, but none of that is so transformative or different as to make the map feel new and exciting for longer than literally a week. If you're an actual Rebirth player. Like, okay, cool. There's a weapon trade station. I'm used to it on my 3rd game, and now I don't care. And then in a week, you're used to everything, and it feels like exactly the same. I'm totally with you there. It didn't get enough to make it feel actually fresh for a while, Whereas Caldera did get some things that made it feel quite fresh for quite a while. I think the balloons are the biggest example of that. But on Rebirth, they don't hit the same. They hit diffy on Caldera.
They do be hitting diffy, yeah.
So, but that's like, again, like you said, on a map that small, what could you possibly do to like transform that game and freshen it up for a while? Nothing.
And that's where we're at in Warzone, and I'll get to that in my closing thoughts. That's where the game is, you know? Exactly, yeah. So, also, I can't believe we don't have 300 health yet in Rebirth Island. This should have happened. It's like they don't want it.
Season
I don't
3.
see any of the Rebirth mains talking about it. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like these good players like Raiden, Strafe, they should be begging for 300 health, but I don't see them talking about it much. Maybe they are, but it's like, holy shit, they should be, especially them, they should be begging for 300 health. It'd be so much more fun for them, I would think. Maybe not, though. Maybe they think it's easier to like 1v4 people with 250 compared to 300, but I think if they're good, it's only going to benefit them. They have a better chance against controller, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They're so good at keyboard and mouse that I actually don't even know what they would prefer, honestly. Yeah, I don't know.
I would prefer 250 to 300 in some sense. I mean, I wouldn't prefer it, but it would give me a better chance against aim assist, basically. Because I'm shit, and I have to kill them quickly, because I'm not going to be as accurate as them. But I would prefer 300 anyway. But anyway,
yeah, just because it's less frustrating getting one framed.
Exactly, yeah. And like I can maybe get away if I have 300 health and get out of the room stim and like replate and re-challenge from 40 meters.
Yeah.
Just run way the fuck away from you, kid, and then come back at 40 meters and shoot you from far away. That's why I would want more health. So maybe they want that, maybe they don't. I don't know. But yeah, for me to ever be remotely interested in Rebirth again, we need 300 health. 300 health already doesn't feel like enough to me anymore after having played Iron Trials, let alone 250. Kill yourself in game. I'm never doing this. I just refuse. It's not fun at all. Getting one framed is just so cringe. I hate it. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, last neutral point here. And this is neutral because it's good and bad, not because it's actually neutral. Sniping. I don't know. I still don't know. I haven't experimented with sniping yet, like I said I was going to. I still am going to. I think I'm going to snipe today, in fact. And I might, if it wasn't so hot, I would do a stream. I might not, actually. But I'm going to try sniping today on Caldera and see where that's at. But I can tell you, even though I haven't been sniping, I have not been getting sniped at in Caldera almost ever since the changes. And this is either good or bad, depending on who you are, your play style, what you like, what you don't like. And that's why it's neutral. But it was transformative. The landscape of Warzone massively got changed when the sniping changes hit, where you can't one-shot headshot at any range with any sniper. And I still don't know where I stand on this. I'm getting sniped at less, which is potentially good. But maybe it's not, because now those people are using extreme M4s instead.
Yeah.
And I have even less of a chance against them now. Yeah, exactly. I don't really know. It's impossible for me to test the counterfactual there. But that's why it's neutral. I just don't know what overall impact this really had, because I don't know who would have otherwise been sniping in the games where I'm getting shot by an AR. I'll never know. It's not possible to know. And I haven't been sniping enough myself to see where sniping actually is currently. But that's why it's neutral. I don't have much to say on it other than it did absolutely change a lot about how Warzone plays.
Yeah, kind of the same point. My favorite memories of Warzone, my favorite clips always, have been with the Swiss and at times the Car 98. All of those on Verdansk, though. If they made this change in Verdansk, this would genuinely have pissed me off, because that was like the most fun I had playing that game, was sniping. It was really fun to do on Verdansk. It's just not as fun on Caldera. Verdansk was just like fun because you'd see someone like far away, like in line with you straight away, and it's like you can quick scope them, aim in real fast, shoot them. But on Caldera, it's like, oh, I'm running up this hill, I got to aim up here, I got to look up above, and then oh, he's peeking from this angle up on this hill right here, and it's just boring to snipe on, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at. Ultimately, it probably is better for the game, but I also just don't care. And my favorite memories were always sniping. That's what I've always had the most fun on Warzone doing.
Same. I love sniping.
Is using the Swiss. But in Caldera, that became a lot less fun and interesting for me. But yeah, like you said, it's like, cool. Now I'm not getting sniped at, but I'm probably now just getting beamed without people missing their shots from 80 meters with an AR anyways. Exactly. But at least you don't have as often that factor of just no reaction, just getting downed immediately, which was the biggest issue with sniping, and still is not knowing when to expect it and just getting down. But,
yeah.
I still don't know where I exactly stand. It's whatever.
Exactly. That's why this is neutral for me. It's like, I don't really know. This is hard. It's hard. But I'm going to try sniping today, and maybe depending on how well I do, I'll try it for a while. And then we'll get back to you. So now on to the final section, the penultimate section of this broadcast, the bad. Okay. The state of Warzone, that are things that are bad, things that are in a bad state, a dilapidated state, if you will. In no particular order. First, bloat. Regarding what? All of it. Too much shit. There's just too much trash with almost everything. And I hate it. So what do you mean, Raz? Okay. There are too many calling cards. There are too many calling card frames. There are too many player titles. There are too many emblems. There are too many weapon charms. There are too many stickers. There are too many assault rifles. There are too many SMGs. There are too many sniper rifles. There are too many weapon categories. There are two types of RPGs that do the same thing. There's too much. It's cluttered. It's bloated. The whole game feels bloated. Hey, here's another thing that's bloated. My file size. Why is it a petabyte on my hard drive? That's not great, man. Let's have not every update be 90 gigabytes, please. Thanks. Way too much bloat in this game.
Technical issue.
It's a technical issue, yeah. And I don't like it at all. It's annoying. And it genuinely pisses me off when I want to switch my class from one AR to another one. It will literally take me on average 4 full seconds. 4 Mississippis to find another AR. What, dude? Too many guns. Stop. Just too much
Fucking
bloat
annoying.
on everything, and I hate it. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Did you know there are still challenges for Warzone?
Oh, challenge bloat too.
Did you look at that?
No.
Who was I
really
talking to that about? It may have been.
Well, maybe it was me, because I just got my 300 wins calling card.
I did not realize there was still a bunch of challenges in Warzone. It doesn't matter, because you get like emblems and calling cards for them, and then later you won't know how you got that calling card, because it doesn't tell you, because it's based on MDub 2019's engine UI. But I was like shocked. I didn't realize there were new season challenges every month. No one pays attention to those anymore, ever.
Oh, the seasonal ones?
There's all sorts of challenges. There's a shitload of them.
I didn't know.
There's a bunch of challenges. No. Apparently they exist. Yeah,
that's
shit
hilarious.
like that. It's just so bloated that no one cares anymore. Yeah, it's like I have 400 emblems. I have 800 charms. I have 60 different sprays. I have 1,000 calling cards that you can't sort by or even find. It's just a big, bloated
weapon blueprints
disaster. Yeah. So many weapon blueprints. Oh my god. Yeah, when I was trying to find that mud dropper MP7 blueprint, it took me like 3 or 4 actual minutes of searching through just the SMG blueprints to see if I had that blueprint. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Which you didn't have.
I don't even want them to add new guns anymore. I wish I just want them to stop adding guns every season. Please don't give us any more. Please don't. It's not going to make the game any better. Just stop.
Dude, hot take alert. Give me a timestamp, please.
136.
Okay. Hot take alert. Hot take alert. This is something Hearthstone does. Okay. Hearthstone's a card game made by Blizzard. And every like 3 months there's an expansion. So they release like 80 new cards that you can play with. But every like 6 months, they will take old cards and you just are not allowed to play them anymore. And this changes up the meta drastically. So the meta changes a lot in this card game when new cards get released into the game, but it changes equally as dramatically as when old cards are no longer allowed to be played. What if, okay, and hot take, Warzone, the meta would be more interestingly and more fun if it were changed by removing guns from play and not letting you use them just like they don't in the CDL playlist than if they added more guns. What if they said, all right, when season 4 comes out, you can no longer use the XM4, the STG, and then like, I don't know, some other guns. So first of all, let me first start by saying this will never happen. They're never going to do this. People buy blueprints. They will lose their fucking little tiny minds.
Yeah.
But if they did, that would change up the meta more than adding in guns that are dog shit anyway, like the UGR underwater submachine gun and the M1916 marksman rifle that uses sniper ammo. I would love it. They'll just never do it, so it kind of doesn't matter. But what would you think about them doing that? Because another Blizzard game does do this.
Well,
it's a different game.
Why don't you stop by comparing it to a card game? Because this is exactly what Fortnite does. Fortnite constantly vaults guns. That's what they call it. There's always that's always been Fortnite's thing. There's like new guns introduced in a new season, and then they vault certain guns out. But the reason that works is because there's no loadouts. It's all ground loot.
Only, yeah.
I don't think, like you said, doesn't matter. This would never work when you sell bundles for specific guns. I don't remember exactly how it works in Fortnite, but I think you just buy skins and that works on any guns because the developers have a brain instead of making it so the blueprint that you spend $20 on only works if you have 10 specific attachments on it. So I think that's the main point. But yeah, with like custom loadouts and stuff, I don't know how that would ever work. Knowing Activision and Raven, it would be a buggy-filled disaster. Some people would somehow be able to build custom loadouts with guns that have been vaulted. You're right. 100%. They would have a class action lawsuit because people couldn't use their STG blueprint, their Godzilla STG blueprint that they bought 3 months ago because it was then vaulted. Yeah. It would just lead to a bunch of things. But I would be totally fine with them vaulting things like that. I just don't see it working very well in a game that has custom loadouts, because that's like one of the main things with Fortnite. But then also a lot of people don't like it because they'll vault things like the heavy shotgun that everyone wants, or like the gold pump that everyone likes, and then they're like, cool, now we have no gold pump, now we have these to deal with these stupid shitty guns. They hate on it, but realistically it's adding more variety for them. They just don't realize it because the game Fortnite, you know.
Yeah, it does freshen up the game in ways people wouldn't expect.
Yeah. So I like the idea. I just don't know how well it would work actually with custom loadouts and everything. And they'll never do it, yeah.
Lord Byron 71 in the chat, friend of the pod, longtime listener, has Twitch Prime and hasn't used it at twitch.tv/Razinon, which is super sus. Free subscription, everyone. Said something, and an old man 71, holy shit. Glad you're still with us. Said maybe restrict perks instead. That's a super interesting idea too. And that is something I think, again, it would be a buggy disaster like everything Activision could possibly do. They would fuck it up. But that would be a good idea. And people couldn't maul about that. You don't buy restock fucking camos. You know, it's just a perk. It's like, what if you just weren't allowed to use restock or combat scout or fucking, I don't know, quick fix for season 4.
Yeah, that would actually be interesting. Cool, that would be really very interesting.
And I don't think people would lose their minds over that. And if you just take the lootable perks out of the ground loot pool, which they could conceivably do, that would be pretty easy to do. That would be fun also, I think. Again, something they'll never do, But just some thoughts. But either way, the main point, to get back to the topic here, is the game is far too bloated now, and I hate it. And it's going to continue to become even more and more and more and more bloated until Warzone 2 comes out. And I really hope they don't make this mistake again with Warzone 2. I will also add, I don't think they will make the same mistake with Warzone 2. And here's why. Every single update on the TL, people mauled about download sizes. Every single time. And Activision has said publicly on numerous occasions, sorry about the download size. They've said it a lot. So it's on Activision's radar. UAV has been popped by Activision, and the red dots of too much bloat, too much file size is appearing. And I'll edit that out. So I'm somewhat optimistic for Warzone 2 to not be this bloated. However, I'm not sure, because Activision also does want to integrate the next 3 premium titles, or 2, into Warzone 2, because they can sell premium games more that way. Because you want to buy Vanguard to level those guns, for example, or something. At least that's how Activision might see it. So I don't know what they will do. I think Warzone 2 will be less bloated, but to what extent, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they're going to.
Well, it'll obviously be way less bloated on launch. The bigger question is, what happens? On
launch, definitely, yeah. I mean,
well, you know what? We won't even have to worry about it for 2 years because there won't be a new COD game next year. I forgot about that. So we won't have bloat for a long time. Then they'll figure it out at that point. Because it's like, maybe that's also honestly part of the reason why there's not going to be a COD title next year, because maybe they're planning on.
They want to integrate, but they don't want bloat.
Maybe they're planning on, when the next main COD title comes out, changing everything in Warzone to those guns only. So they want people that grind for camos and buy skins or something to be able to use them for like 2 years versus only 1 year, essentially, or something like that. Who knows? But yeah. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to make this mistake on Warzone 2. That was the head of Raven Live Ops, or Activision Live, or Call of Duty Live Ops, said, was that the file sizes are too big. They know that. There's nothing they can do about it now. The game's too bloated, and every time there's a big download, more and more people start to uninstall the game versus updating it. That was said in an interview with the Live Ops Call of Duty director. So it's a known issue. It's a technical issue.
Yeah, you're right. So that's terrible. Next, Tanner.
Okay, Season 3. Yeah. I mean, hyped up more than any season ever in Warzone history, yet it was worse than the season previous. It was a worse launch than Season 2. Still a lot of season left. Maybe Season 3 Reloaded will be massive. But for how much Mr. Timmons hyped this up,
Timmy
yikes.
Timmons, enemy of the pod.
What did we get on Season 3? Couple terrible new guns, a Monarch event, which is an event. We got some clouds. We got a new contract. We got the worst gulag we've ever had in the history of Warzone, and we got what was the other thing I was thinking?
2 dog shit guns.
I already said the dog shit guns.
Oh, okay.
A POU.
A POU.
We got a new point of uninterest in dig site.
Correct. Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Really. We're going to hype it up for that. Now, that's not exactly their fault. Developers always think their game is amazing and perfect. I will never forget the tweet that, what's Treyarch's director's name? Vundybot. What Vundy said before Cold War came, I said, I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on this game. It's amazing. Yikes. Did you ever play it? Horrible video game, Vundy. I mean, you are out of your mind. But devs always think their game is fun.
Vundy's on the sticks.
So Mr. Timmons hyped it up. I, for some reason, fell for the hype. That's why I'm let down. This would be just more in a neutral category because it's just another season. Nothing made the game worse, but I fell for the hype, and that sucks, so I'm just done doing that. I'm done listening to what Ted hypes up. I'm done listening to what they say. I'm done with them hyping up a fix for the sliding bug being locked, not being able to look down, that's been in the game since day one of Warzone, and them trying to hype up that fix that's incoming with Season 3 Reloaded. Got it. Plus, fuck you. So that's my fault. I'm done falling for it. I'm never getting excited for anything ever until Modern Warfare 2 comes out, which then I'll get excited for and then still let down probably.
And then still be let down, correct?
But,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
It was,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just think it's crazy they hyped it up so much and it was literally worse than the season before. Crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing special going on this season so far. As I said, a lot of season left. Maybe Reloaded will be huge and we'll get a bunch of changes. Maybe even once this Monarch event ends, we'll get map changes or something. Then I'll come back and say, okay, they were right. This lived up to the hype. But so far, nothing. Nothing's going on with this season. Boring already.
You know what's one thing that hasn't happened with a new season in a very long time? They have not added a gun to Warzone that has been even usable in I don't know how long. What is the last new gun that was good? The MG42? Like literally, was it the MG42? Or yeah, that. Yeah. Was it the Cold War LMG that was entirely too overpowered?
So you're not talking about all the guns that were added in then from Vanguard right away, like on launch. You're not talking about any of those.
Yeah, I guess would you count the? Yeah, I'm not talking about the integrated guns. I guess maybe
talking about like guns that we get in season or something.
Yeah, like yes. I'm talking about not base game guns. When's the last time we got a non-base game gun? So in other words, a gun that didn't release with Vanguard on launch. That was actually good in Warzone. Because like back in the day, if you guys don't remember when Warzone first came out, season 0 of Warzone, I don't remember what guns they added. It might have been the Ram and a dog shit SMG. I think it was like maybe the Striker. Striker was not usable, but the Ram like changed Warzone forever. F's in the chat for the Ram 7. Best gun ever in Warzone. My favorite. And then like the next season they added like the Bruin. And then the next season they added like, I don't know, some other gun that was really good. Like they used to add in every season really fucking strong guns that would shake up the meta. And this was before all the bloat, so it wasn't that big of a deal that there were new guns being added. But they also changed things up. When's the last time a season or season reloaded released where there was a gun that was like good and used in Warzone?
I mean,
that was the biggest hype about new seasons. Let's be real. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most seasons, the biggest thing about them was that there was a new gun for us to unlock, level, and use in Warzone that was fun to use. But that has not happened in quite a while. So then we're stuck with points of uninterest, rain, and shittier gulags, and the same ground loot. So like, yeah, it's just, that has been a missed opportunity that we have not gotten in a long time. And I get that they don't want to release a new gun that's super fucking busted like the MG82 was. But hey, just don't make it insanely overpowered. It's not hard. You guys have done it before. When the Ram 7 was added, it wasn't overpowered. It was just really good. In fact, it was underpowered because it was only 45 round mag with extended mags. You buffed it to 50. That's the way to do it. And it's been months since that's happened.
I mean, on launch, none of them. Yeah. I mean, other than like when the Caldera guns came out. But I mean, we really haven't. We've only gotten like 2 sets of guns. There's only been 2 seasons.
I know, but I'm talking about even since before Vanguard.
Well, also, as you were just saying, back then it was different. When a new game came in that was good, there was 40 less guns to choose from, too. So now it's like that there's so many guns, every new gun is just going to be less interesting because people already found 8 other meta SMGs. I think the only one you could say now is the Armaguerra. That's become a top used SMG that was added in Season 2. Well, but that wasn't good on launch. Wasn't Wellgun? Was Wellgun added in later?
I believe it was. I think it's a Cold War SMG that did not come out at launch. Yeah.
Vanguard SMG.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know.
No, it's Cold War, isn't it? The Wellgun?
No, it's got 10 attachments.
Oh yeah, it's Vanguard. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I just don't remember if that came in Season 1 or not. I don't remember anything from Season 1 at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Armaguerra is the only one really. And it's
No,
just
the well
because
done
there's
too. I think you're right.
it's just
yeah.
because there's too many guns. It's just it makes them all less interesting at this point. It's like, who cares? We have enough
Yeah.
to choose from. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's true. I guess this is kind of just an extension of the bloat point, because you're right. How are they going to add, like, of course, in season 1 of Warzone, if they add a new AR, it's going to be good because it's only competing with 8 other ARs. Now, if you add an AR, it's competing with literally 35 probably. So of course it's not going to be in the meta. It's going to have to be fucking ridiculous to be. So yeah, you're right about that. But yeah, season 3 has been kind of cringe. I don't know.
And I already said that in that part. Yeah, the gulag is horrendous with season 3.
Yeah,
I mean, bottom 3 at least. Bottom 3 at least terrible.
Yeah, for sure. Next. This I think is the worst point I have that is topical at this time about Warzone. That we've talked about before. The worst circles consistently that Warzone has ever had, literally since day one. I mean, the worst. Verdansk had an era of a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, where circles would be like half out of the map. Nowhere near as bad as Caldera, where every single circle, the first circle, cuts off actually 40 to 50% of the playable area, and it makes the entire rest of the game dog shit in a way that it doesn't need to be. We gotta change these circles. This makes the game so much fucking worse for all of the reasons we've already talked about before that I'm not going to rehash. I'd rather have peak endings than have the first circle cut off 90% of the map. All of your players would, because then you're forcing 140 players to land capital, resort, or out of zone, and then half the lobby is going to die in a minute and no one had fun. We got to stop with these circles. We gotta stop. There is a happy medium between every last circle being at peak and also the first circle not being at the very edge of the map. There's a way to make these work. That is not what we're doing now. Figure it out. It's not that hard. I don't know what to tell you. Have the first, second, and third circle be by peak, and then it comes off peak every single time for the 4th, 5th, 6th. Fine. That's fine. Just don't cut off all of the map in the first circle. I don't know why this is happening, but every game, you're cutting off 50% of the map you spent so much time fucking designing hills for. And I just don't understand it. And it makes every single thing about doing that makes the gameplay experience so much worse. This is the worst part of the state of Warzone for me right now, bar none, easily.
Well, then also with the change to the loadout, so it's like it changes how you land, because if you land outside of the zone, which is going to be half the map as soon as you drop in, you're going to have to buy your own loadout, which is fine.
Exactly.
But then by the time you get to your second loadout, you're going to be late to it. There may be people around camping it. You may not even be able to get it at that point, depending on how your rotation is. So it kind of forces everyone to go land into the zone, and then that becomes such small POIs. I mean, maybe it does lead to more action early on and more excitement. Maybe it would be boring if it was a bigger circle right in the middle.
Too much action early, though. It's too RNG. I think you're right, but it's not a good thing.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just crazy that we have a map, but I mean, 60% of the POIs you are outside of the circle 3 minutes into the game. Cool, man. Dope.
It's just insane. This is the worst thing about Warzone for me right now, easily. And it's so easy to fucking change too, and they just don't want to. I don't know. Next point here. This isn't even a real point, but I'll mention it anyway. I might just be malding because Iron Trials was so fun with all the extra health, but I still wish the time to kill was slower. It still feels too fast to me. Bullshit deaths where you die before you know what hits you are not fun for anyone. I'm not getting skill gapped when some guy I didn't know was there kills me in 550 milliseconds. And there was nothing I could have done. It's just not fun. And this is with the 50 extra health, which was a good change, but I don't know. Still feels like it's not enough, but then like we've talked about, if you do too much more than this, then you're making too big of a gap, and then bad players will never play your game, and Activision's not going to do that. So I don't know. It might also be that this TTK would be fine on a map with more cover and better visibility. And I don't mean the map having better visibility, excuse me. I mean the game engine having better visibility. BO4's worst visible map, Arsenal Sandstorm. I could still see every single player better every single second of that entire multiplayer experience than the best case scenario in Warzone ever. I still see people better in BO4 Arsenal Sandstorm. So, if the game had better visibility and if there was more cover on Caldera, then maybe the CTK would be fine because you'd get surprised less often. Or you'd just be caught out in the open less often if there were more cover. And then the TTK would be okay. I think that would be a good compromise. I think it would be better for sure. But as it stands, the TTK still just feels too fast to me.
I don't even know if it's that. It's just so random now. Because with stims, which I'm also kind of starting to get sick of. I never thought I would, but the same thing with Combat Scout. I'm kind of getting sick of the health regen on stims. Because it's either like...
It's overpowered.
At 300 health, a gunfight's like 500 milliseconds, or it's 2 minutes long. Because someone keeps restock stim sliding away from you and you can't hit them. It's just like... It's become very random, very, very random, the gunfights. You just like don't know what to expect because it's either you're going to run into a shitter who just stands still and you just dump him really quickly, or it's some 18-year-old sweatlord who pops 2 stims, runs away from you, and then beams you with his extreme M4 from 100 meters and doesn't miss a shot, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
So it's just such an odd range right now with stims being as good as they are.
That is true, too. That does make gunfights inconsistent, which you do not want. You want gunfights to be consistent. If someone's full plates, it should take me about this long to kill them if I'm hitting all my shots at this range, no matter what, every time.
Yeah.
With stims, that is not true. Which is, I mean, it's kind of nice when you're the one getting shit on and you stim and you survive.
I was just
but
about to say that.
But when you don't get the kill for that reason, it's annoying. Yeah.
Stims and Combat Scout, great for me to use, horrible to get shot at, or horrible shooting at someone and they stim away. Frustrating, annoying. Love it when I do it, though. It's one of those things.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think when you have that feeling, ultimately it's better if that item is just nerfed.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
I think stims do need a nerf along with Combat Scout 100%. This is coming from someone who uses them both because I use things that are good.
Yeah.
Duh. So anyway, what is this next point?
My last thing here for the bad. Horrible server issues. Still. We've had these problems for, I don't know if since Caldera came out. I feel like they were introduced like a month or two after. High ping servers. I can't ever find West Coast servers. Desync, lag, slow motion for the first 5 minutes of the game where like everything's slow. You open a chest and it's just slow. Your reload speed is just like something is messed up with the servers, and to my knowledge, they still have not once publicly mentioned it. Oh yeah, you're right, the servers are definitely fucked up, let's look into this. They haven't said a goddamn thing. They're horrible. The hit reg is worse than it's ever been. Something is messed up. We almost never had these issues on Verdansk. I almost wonder if it's something to do with the server side anti-cheat.
It's a good question, actually. That's a great theory.
It could be.
It actually could be. Yeah, it's a good theory.
So, I don't know. It's just very annoying. And the most annoying part is that they've never even mentioned that it's a problem. And it's been a problem for so fucking long. It's so frustrating. I mean, the hit reg is just horrendous at times. And this just didn't used to be an issue at all. And I don't know what's going on, and it needs to be fixed now. It's very frustrating.
Let me also add, Tanner and I play on very capable computers that cost as much as 1 scalped PS5 or 3 retail PS5s. So we don't experience all of the fucking insane console issues that many people are experiencing.
That's
even
another
next gen
massive issue,
consoles, which is a huge issue.
Consoles are
it's not
so
an issue
fucked.
for us, obviously, because we don't play on console, and every streamer plays on PC, whether they're controller or keyboard and mouse, so we don't really see it on the TL either. But I do feel for most of you who are probably playing on a console that have been having issues still, that are still having issues, and we're having them since day one of Caldera. That's really shit. That sucks. And feels like there's something they should be able to fucking fix. In addition to the new Xbox not being able to do 120 hertz still. It's like Microsoft's fault or something. Hey, aren't they acquiring you? What kind of business relationship is this?
Yeah, figure it the fuck out.
So you guys are doing a business deal, but you can't even get your fucking stupid screen to flicker 120 times a second? Huh? Yeah. I don't understand how that's happening.
That'll never be in Warzone 1 at this point. That's a Warzone 2 feature. 120
That's 100% a Warzone 2 feature. Yeah. 120% maybe.
Yeah, it's a technical issue. They all want it, but they just can't figure it out. Fuck you.
So that's just crazy too. And I, this is something that doesn't affect us at all again, but I do really feel for you guys, which is probably the majority of you who are playing on a console. It's like, fuck, man, I can't even play Warzone.
Yeah, I really don't. This probably was an issue in Verdansk. I can't think of it being as bad as it was, though, now. Like, True Game Data posted a little clip on Twitter, and he's like, how am I supposed to win gunfights when the desync is this bad? And on his screen, he slides past the guy, he's shooting him in the back and the side, and then he dies, and his fucking molding. He's like, what? He wasn't even looking at me. He watches the kill cam. The guy on his kill cam tracks him as he slides by him, and he's looking at him and shooting. But on his screen, slowed it down, he's looking the opposite direction and his gun shooting that direction. It's like, what is going on with this game?
And then you
that didn't happen on Verdansk.
Yeah.
It probably has something to do with server-side issues because the anti-cheat. Because I remember some of the big tech guys talking about anti-cheats are great, but just know it's going to cause performance issues in Warzone. Because that's just a known thing. It's just, hey, more bloatware, I guess. I don't know how it works, but I saw a bunch of them talking about that.
Intuitively, it sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
The server is doing more shit. So
server's doing a thing. It's doing something more than it used to be.
Exactly, yeah. So cool. Tanner, you have another little interesting
My other
point
little
here
thing
I'd like
here
to
is
discuss.
Yeah, I mean, we better get these footstep audio changes that Mr. Teddy Timmons has talked about, and we better get a fix for this slide bug in Season 3 Reloaded for the 10th time, by the way. It's fucking insane that we're still asking for these things.
Mm-hmm.
Insane,
I actually just don't slide
man.
Downstairs anymore.
It's worse than it's ever been, because the map.
Yeah,
Anytime
true.
I slide, I get stuck. It's horrible, man. It's fucking terrible. It's a joke that they can't fix this. Figure it out. Oh, we want to fix all the issues before we add new stuff to the game, right? Yeah. You spent months designing this horrible...
You stupid pieces of shit, Activision.
You spent months.
Fuck you, man.
You spent months designing this King Kong vs. dog shit Godzilla event, and you still haven't fixed the slide bug. Come on, bro. Please. Core gameplay mechanics still don't work.
That's a huge... The slide bug, because I get that audio is hard. Audio must be difficult because no first-person shooter I've played has, like, good audio, I guess. Like, all the popular FPS games right now, people bitch about the audio. So I guess audio is, like, really hard to do. So fine, whatever. You guys can't figure it out. It's not... I don't think it's that hard. I could do it. But whatever. But the fucking slide bug is just insane. So, by the way, let me also add, I spread some fake news on an edition of the podcast in the past, where I said this was a keyboard and mouse exclusive issue. It is not. This is an issue for everyone. I've confirmed. Everyone experiences the slide bug, which makes it even more. So I'm sorry, egg on my face, whatever. But that also makes it even more outrageous that this has not been fixed since. Not even since before day one of Warzone. Since before the conception of Warzone. Since Modern Warfare 2019 closed beta, this was a bug. This has been a bug for 3 years now. Cool. Core gameplay problem that should have been fixed in beta of multiplayer. And we still have it 3 years later. That is actually unbelievable. It's crazy to me. And it's one of those things where like I'm so used to it now that I won't slide downstairs in Battlefield. I won't slide downstairs in fucking Tarkov. And when Warzone 2 comes out, if this bug is no longer in the game, I think I just won't slide downstairs in Warzone 2 and I'll just have a shit habit.
Oh, I hope they just remove sliding if that's if this problem's still going to be in the game. I don't even want to slide then.
Yeah. Warzone slide trauma, exactly. Yeah. So that is crazy. Yeah. And let me add, also, it would be nice if they like changed footstep audio or whatever. They won't make it better. Even if they do change it, it's not going to get better.
It just seems so easy.
I'm never going to hear footsteps.
Doesn't it sound so easy to do?
It does seem easy. Yeah, it seems super easy.
Hey, I have a Go XLR. I should be able to just slide up the volume that says footstep, right? Figure it out. You can design King Kong that can throw rocks at people on the map and has, laser beams coming out of his cock. But you haven't fixed footstep audio? I mean, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
A precision airstrike deafens me, but I can't hear footsteps 3 feet away.
Yeah, they need to set... It is layering. They need to set the priority of enemy footsteps higher than every other sound.
Yes.
So, like, when a precision gets called in on you, and you're shooting your gun, you're going to hear your gun shooting less because there's a loud precision airstrike happening. Sure. But in addition to that, they deprioritize your gun sound and the precision because the precision's happening. So if you like remove the precision airstrike audio, your gun would be quieter. I'm pretty sure, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. It's called like side chaining, where they deprioritize certain sounds when other sounds are happening.
Yeah.
And they need to massively prioritize footsteps, and it needs to be literally number one on the list, and it's not. That alone would help a lot. And that seems like it's not hard to do.
There's just so many sounds in the game in general, too. There's way too many sounds for it to be a BR. Like, when we went back recently and played PUBG, there is not a sound on the map happening except for gunshots in the distance and footstep audio. That is the only fucking thing you hear. There's no announcer. There's no shit on my screen. There's no countdown timers. There's no loud gulag buzzer after I'm already in the gulag running at the person and going in my ear. There's just annoying, unnecessary sounds. Game of the year audio studio, by the way. Game of the year. I mean, it's just... I think that's the biggest issue, is there's too many sounds for them to try to balance out. And that's why we can't hear footsteps.
That's a good point. Like, when the next circle is closing, I don't need the doot, 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 or whatever when it's almost closed.
Yeah, it's like, why tell me that?
I don't need another dumb buzzing sound when the next circle shows. I don't need, all of that shit. I don't need any of the gulag sounds, really.
No, why is there any gulag sounds?
Yeah, I agree. You're right. That's a great point. And that reminds me of another bad point, by the way, which I am not optimistic for Warzone 2, and which is a bigger issue than it's going to sound. If a precision gets called on me, don't notify me at the center of my screen, taking up 100% of the horizontal space directly on my reticle. No one complains about this, and I don't know why. This is the worst time and place to put that notification possible. You would have to brainstorm, what is the worst way we can notify players about a precision airstrike being called on them? Okay, well, first of all, we want it to take up a lot of their screen. What would be the worst way to do that? Let's do 100% of the horizontal screen's real estate.
Oh
cool.
God.
Great idea. And then where should we place it? Well, what would be, again, the brainstorm is for the worst possible location, right? So the worst possible location is right where their reticle is. Let's do that. And they actually did it.
Yeah.
I have died. I've been playing Warzone since it came out. I'm not kidding. I've probably died in Warzone upward of 20 to 30 times only because I can't see where I'm aiming because someone called a cluster on me. That's completely unacceptable. And that's not counting how many times someone's called a cluster on me when I was gonna start shooting them, and I said, oh, fuck that, never mind, I'll wait. I'll literally just wait for the game to stop trolling me before I try and take this gunfight that I otherwise would have taken. So how many kills did I not get because that is a notification system? Insane that that's the case. No one complains about it. Never seen one complaint about it. Have no idea why. And I bet you that's going to come back in Warzone 2. Hey, if you put the banner 30% higher on my screen, I'm going to fucking see it still. Don't worry. It's not like I'm going to not see the giant fucking precision airstrike incoming banner if it's not covering where I'm aiming. I'll still see it. Don't worry about it. Just let me aim while I get notified. It's not hard. And I don't think that's going to be fixed in Warzone 2, which is just completely outrageous. And it's also weird because in Vanguard multiplayer, they fixed this issue when I'm capping the flag that it used to be on my reticle. Now it isn't. Great change.
Well, don't.
So at least someone at Activision is aware that this is a thing they shouldn't do. Let's get the Vanguard guy, that dev, first of all, give him a bonus this year and promote him to the head of whatever department he works in, and then migrate him with benefits and a relocation bonus fucking bundle to wherever the fuck he needs to be to work on kill streaks in Warzone. That guy needs a promotion. He needs incentives. He needs stock options, and he needs to make sure that we change these goddamn notification locations. It's outrageous. This is a huge pet peeve of mine because there's no reason for it. No reason for it. Holy shit, it makes me mad.
Don't give Sledgehammer any credit whatsoever. It launched like that. That was in the game for like actually months before they fixed it. And that was literally over your reticle. Now we're exaggerating a bit. The cluster strike and precision icon is above your reticle slightly, but this was literally in your reticle.
Hold on. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to check right now.
You probably have your horizontal HUD set maxed out. If you change that, that'll also put it up a little bit higher, but then it raises everything else horizontally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which sucks, but it raises everything else that I don't want to be raised instead of that. I mean, both of them. Yeah, because I just did that like a couple weeks ago. I was like, I wonder if this changes anything. Because I mess with my it was actually after that episode that we did where we talked about the vertical and horizontal HUD. I went in and I looked at mine and I changed mine a bit, and it does change that actually.
That's really good to know.
But then it changes everything else that I don't want moved horizontally. It still does. So that's probably why we bitch about it more than other people, because most people don't ever adjust their HUD, or don't even think to, or don't even know to. I think that's why people don't complain about it.
Maybe that is why it's happening. I'm trying to find a clip of someone having a precision called on.
Because for me, it was like right above my reticle. I mean, it blocks your view, but in Vanguard, it was actually over the middle dot in your reticle when you aimed. This was just slightly above it in Warzone. But I think you can make it if you max out horizontal, so it is essentially over your reticle.
Yeah.
But anyways, you want me to get into my closing thoughts here on Warzone?
Go ahead and get into those closing thoughts.
So, in my opinion, Warzone is the most stale it's been in like a year. We're just at a point now where Warzone still feels so similar to how it felt in March of 2020. Caldera was a fun change of pace when it was introduced, but we're at a stage where every update just keeps me personally interested for less and less time. It's like there's nothing ever significant. It just feels like the same game. It's like it's difficult to play a game for hours on end every day. That's basically what have we got since Warzone introduced? A bunch of too many guns. We changed the map and a bunch of more bugs that we're finally getting quality of life changes for.
Yeah.
It's just, a lot of this is probably me personally. I think for a lot of people, you get to that point where it's like 2 years into the game and you just want something different. You want something entirely different, and it's just not that. It's just it feels the same still. There's been a lot of good changes, 300 health, everything we talked about today. But it's still, I don't know, it just still feels like I'm playing Warzone with like not many changes. Now, I know that's obviously not the case, but that's how it makes me feel. You know, it's like I want Warzone 2 to feel so much different that it doesn't even feel like a Call of Duty game anymore. I mean, all new mechanics, nothing sounds the same, nothing looks the same, new visuals, new everything. I don't want it to have any similarities to Warzone 1 besides like loadout drops. And I'm just worried that's like the route they're going to take is we're going to feel it's going to be like getting a new map, changing the sounds and then getting the new MW 222 guns on the new Warzone, and otherwise it feels so similar because that's not going to keep people playing it for a long time. It's like no ranked mode. There's just no reason to play this game. It just leads to, it's like no one cares about your KD and wins except for you. You looking at your
Correct.
KD and stats every day, no one else gives a fuck except for you. Literally having a ranked mode and having some little icon next to your name that someone loading up into the lobby or someone dying to you or someone killing you sees like, oh shit, that guy's this rank. Holy shit, this guy's a sweat lord. That alone, the most basic thing, gives you a reason to grind this game, and we just still don't have that, and we'll never have that until Warzone 2. And that's what sucks. It just feels like there's nothing to grind for. There's nothing to do. Like we said, I forgot there's the challenge systems. It's not a good system. No one even knows that it exists anymore. I didn't know it was even a thing until like a couple weeks ago. I was like, holy shit, I forgot these challenges are even still in here, and they update them every season. Apparently, I didn't even know, because there's just no reason to go for those things, because it gives me a calling card that then I'll have to look through my list of 1,500 calling cards to try and find.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then when I kill someone, I don't even know what that calling card means, so I don't give a shit either. It's like, that's
when
what
I die to someone with a calling card, I have no idea what any of them signify. Yeah.
That's what was cool even about BO4 is loading up into a lobby, seeing someone's emblem, seeing if they were prestige, seeing their rank, seeing what calling cards they had selected on their little profile.
And their little showcase that had like the other calling cards. Yep.
Your customized shit. And we just don't
some guy
get that
with
anymore.
The free-for-all nuke calling card and the nuke calling card, you were like, okay, this guy's twisted. We got to watch out.
Yep, and the 100%er calling card.
Yep.
I think Cuba's had that.
Someone with like, Cuba's had that. Who else had it? Who was our friend that like stopped talking to us? DJ
Papa Squat. Shout out to DJ Papa Squat.
Friend of the pod, formerly, yeah.
Yeah, that guy just disappeared. That was weird.
And then like sometimes you would see people too in BO4 where they would have Killer Master as their calling card. And then in their showcase, they would have like the Brutal Killer calling card, maybe the Relentless Killer calling card where you have to get 10, 20 kill streaks, and like, I don't know, quad feed calling card. And you would laugh at them because you'd be like, oh, you were so close, weren't you? You fucking pussy. But you couldn't get the nuke, could ya? Because if you could, you'd have it equipped, you little bitch. And then Tanner would BM them with his imagine not having a nuke, LMAO, all caps, custom emblem.
That'd be their 13th reason, yeah.
And we played, and we played BO4 enough. And you wouldn't have to play that much because there weren't like an infinite amount of calling cards, but we played it enough to where we knew like pretty much what every calling card was. And we would get a very good sense for how good someone is or what kind of player they are, depending on what calling card they have, what level they are, what prestige they are, etc.
Mm-hmm.
None of this means anything anymore.
No.
That's a big problem with MW and with Warzone. So before I get into this quickly, you are right. I posted a screenshot in internal. The precision is like slightly above the reticle. I guess if you change the HUD bounds, this changes that. Because I swear to God, mine is right where my reticle is. So if there's an Activision dev listening, first of all, even by default, way too close to where I'm looking and aiming. Put it actually
100%.
20% higher. It should be right under the minimap. Like vertically. And you can, I guess, keep the entire full horizontal bar, although it's not necessary, but it should be as high up as right below the minimap. So first of all, anyways, yes. So first of all, with Warzone 2, I was not that worried that Warzone 2 was going to be a carbon copy of Warzone 1 until I saw another Blizzard title recently go into beta, Overwatch 2, which I've talked about. Overwatch 2 is Overwatch 1.5, actually. The UI looks slightly different. The heroes are slightly more balanced, but the heroes look the same. They are the same heroes. They have the same skins. The ranking system is basically the same. The maps are the same. I mean, holy shit, man. And I don't play Overwatch. There's probably other like minor changes to the game that like actual Overwatch players care about. And maybe it's an improvement on Overwatch 1. That's all well and good. But it's not much of a different game. At least so far. And that is another Blizzard title. So that kind of makes me worried. Are they going to do that with Warzone 2? Are we going to get like a bunch of the same operators? How much is going to carry over to Warzone 2? How much of these operator skins? How much of these guns? Hopefully none. Are the perks going to be just copy and pasted? You know, we're definitely going to get a new map, but then is every other mechanic going to be like identical? Are the calling cards going to carry over? Are the stats going to carry over? I'm a little worried. I'm a little bit less worried. I don't think it's going to be like Overwatch 2. I don't think it's going to be that much of a clone. But I do wonder how much will number 1 carry over actually, and number 2 will carry over in spirit. In terms of like the plating system's going to be exactly the same, even though it's not like your plates from last game are going to carry over into Warzone 2. Like you're not going to bring your satchel over. But on the topic of Warzone as it stands now, it is super stale at the moment. More stale than it's ever been for me. And this has been true for many, many people, which is why Warzone has been hemorrhaging players for months now. Is because, like, yeah, the cheater situation isn't as bad. But it's like every day people are like, why should I keep playing? Like back when Warzone first came out, it was novel. So that was reason enough. But also, like, every time a new season came out, there was a new meta gun in Warzone. They would release buybacks for the first time. That was like a whole new reason to play. Your stats were still relatively fresh, so that mattered. The tournament scene was new and fresh, so people were super hyped on playing in those and spectating them. There was just a lot to discover and a lot to grind for. People wanted to be at the top of the leaderboard for the most Warzone kills or most Warzone wins. People wanted to get that 300 wins calling card. People wanted to like win Iron Trials when it first came out. Rebirth Island was new. There was a lot of reasons to play Warzone back in the day. Now, there aren't. The most fundamental missing component of Warzone at this point is a reason to play at all. You know, think of a World of Warcraft player. You play World of Warcraft. You do end game raids to get best in slot gear. You do guild fucking raids when an X-Pack comes out to be the number 1 first guild in the world to complete the new raid. There are a bunch of achievements. If you want to get every World of Warcraft achievement, dude, not many people have done that. That's insanely hard to do. And there is a lot of tough shit you have to do. And a lot of grindy time sinking shit to do. And everyone else can see your achievements. Some people are into that. Collect mounts, shit like that. And you could do ranked PvP in World of Warcraft. There's a new ranked season every couple months. With that ranked season, if you get a high enough rating, you get titles, you get cosmetic gear, you get, did I say titles already?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Titles, cosmetic gear, yeah.
Titles, cosmetic gear, and if you get a high enough rating, you get like a super ultra premium title that you can't get ever again if you don't get it that season. These are all and achievements are tied to these things as well. This is all like a reason to keep playing World of Warcraft and why people still play it 20 years fucking later. No one would play Warzone if Warzone was on its current trajectory for the next 18 years. Duh. And this is true in other games too, like Tarkov. There are tasks. There's Kappa grind. There's a wipe every once in a while that makes the game fresh again instantly. They add in new guns. They add in new maps. They add in limited time events where Sturgeon General is like on every map. They add in all kinds of shit. They do a bunch of goofy shit in Tarkov that keeps people coming back. In COD multiplayer even, BO4, what was the reason to play that game? To get the 100%er calling card that actually mattered, because there weren't an endless amount of challenges that had no rhyme or reason to them, and every calling card was significant. It wasn't just attached to a bundle. There weren't any attached to bundles, in fact. The mastery camo, people cared about that because the game was out for a year and then it was on to the next one. So when the game has a 1-year life cycle, people will grind for shit early to enjoy it for the next 6 months or whatever, farm people, and then the new game comes out. In Warzone, there's no analog for any of this. What do you grind for in Warzone now? There's no achievements or challenges that matter, because why do them? You don't get anything for them. There's no calling cards that matter, because none of them matter, and no one will know what your calling card is anyway, even if you get it, like the 300 wins calling card. I'm using that. None of you can tell me what it looks like, though, because there's too many calling cards. There's no ranking. There's no rating. I have all the mastery camos I want now. So why the fuck am I going to... And every gun I want is max level. So why the fuck am I going to play Warzone? I'm going to play it because it's like fun for me. But that waxes and wanes, which is why Warzone is super stale. Sometimes the meta's fun. Sometimes they add new shit that's really fun. And I'll play for a while, but even that will get old quickly.
You play Warzone at this point to have fun, but it's not a fun enough game to continue to play just to have fun and not
just
having anything else to do.
For the fun of it alone and not have anything else to grind for.
Like, exactly. You know, like that's the sweaty Tarkov players end up complaining about the same thing late wipe, that there's nothing to do. One, that's their fault. They finish everything in a week. That takes an average person literally 4 or 5 months to do. But we're like probably 1 month away from wipe. There is so many more things for me to do right now in Tarkov than we've had on Warzone since Caldera came out, actually. I can keep grinding levels so I can get different high level outfits to wear so people know you're a high level. You can grind more tasks to then unlock other items that I currently can't buy because I haven't done the task for them. You can do more tasks to unlock rare armbands or something so people know that you're a sweat lord and did this hard task because it's the only way to obtain it. What is the reason to play Warzone? There's not. You just play it to have fun. And that's the main thing that's missing. And you can't make a game in 2022 that people just have fun on. You need something
People don't
else.
Play games for the fun of it anymore.
Exactly. We're not. It isn't 2010 anymore. We're not playing video games to have fun. People want to earn something from those games, and that is exactly what we're missing. And the ranked mode is such a basic idea, and it would add, I think, so much to Warzone, so much, and we just don't have it.
That would bring you back, wouldn't it?
Oh, I would love if there was a ranked mode. I wouldn't be in the top 5 ranks because I'm old and shit now, but it would be something to play for. It would be more fun. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It's something to grind for.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Yep. So that's where we're at. And again, as I've said many times and will continue to say until Warzone 2 comes out, yeah, Warzone is stale right now. They've kind of given up on like freshening it up because they're just doing Warzone 2 now. So hopefully Warzone 2 has a ranked mode, has calling cards to grind for and challenges that matter and all of these fun and exciting things. But Warzone's never not going to be stale again for the vast majority of players. That's it.
If we don't have a rank...
Go ahead.
If we don't have a ranked mode within 3 months of Warzone 2 launching, I'm already going to write the game off as a launch failure by Activision. Because it's going to be a joke if we don't.
A giant missed opportunity for sure.
It's a fucking joke. Yep.
Yeah. Like look at Apex. I mean, Apex came out. Apex Legends, it's a BR. It came out. It was super popular when it launched. It kind of lost some popularity. And now it's like having a huge resurgence in popularity.
Oh, they always has more viewers on Twitch than Warzone now. Always.
And the only reason for that is because which is an older game than is it older than Warzone? It's about the same age as Warzone. I don't even know when
Apex came out, honestly.
It's about the same age as Warzone. So it's not like it's much older or much newer than Warzone. But it has a ranked mode. So like a bunch of people still play it and have a ton of fun because there are ranked seasons and they want to get Apex Predator or the highest rank they can get, whatever.
Yeah.
And that makes the game fun. And like Warzone's just missing that. It's like, what am I doing, dude? Like, I had insane games today. Cool. And then you get on tomorrow and you have nothing to show for it. And yeah, like Tanner said, games in 2022, you got to have something to grind for. You got to have a carrot.
Yeah.
We just got to have a carrot.
Yeah, so. I mean, right now I'm looking Warzone 56,000 Twitch viewers, Apex 90. I don't think Warzone's been past Apex in a long time. And that's what you always see them say. I know, like, Kaylee is one of the big ones. She's like, I switched to Apex because there's a way bigger skill gap. And she goes back now and she's like, oh yeah, Warzone doesn't have a skill gap. Once you play other games, you realize there's no skill gap in Warzone at all. I've never played Apex, so I don't know how true that is, if there's actually a big skill gap. But that's what all of them do. They're always like going live for another long stream trying to grind this rank. What do you do in Warzone? Going live for a stream to play the game? Level up a few times? Who fucking cares? It's boring.
Level up meaningless levels that don't even mean anything.
To level up a shitty gun and then make a shitty clickbait YouTube video swag about how overpowered the new M1916 gun is in Warzone or something.
Yeah.
That's it's a joke. There's nothing to grind for, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't even know. Do you know what Path of Exile is?
Yes.
Because that game has more viewers than Warzone right now.
Does it really?
Blood Hunt has 20,000 more viewers than Warzone.
Yeah.
We're just at the point now, it's so far into the game's life cycle, and there's no ranked mode or anything to grind for still. That's the bottom line.
I think Activision knows that people want things to grind for. And that is evidenced by the fact that a battle pass exists that you grind out tiers for. Weapon levels exist. Camos exist. Seasonal challenges exist. Mastery challenges exist. But it's not merely that you need something to grind for. It's that you need something people give a fuck about to grind for. And I think Activision conflated these two things. And they're like, oh, you guys like challenges and grinding for shit? Cool. We'll give you all the things to grind for. But none of it matters. And that's the problem. You need things to grind for that people care about. And that's what Warzone is missing. So, yeah. I'm still having fun playing Warzone because I'm grinding real life get better at FPS game skill. But the vast majority of people are not interested in that. And so they're over Warzone. And that's why you're seeing its decline in popularity. And it will make a stunning resurgence when Warzone 2 comes out. The hype for it is going to be very high. And hopefully it lives up to some of that. But for now, Warzone will just be stale until Warzone 2 comes out. And it's that simple. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Anything else you'd like to add, Tanner?
No, I don't think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. We will be back next week. Follow us on Twitter at the Dropshot Pod. We post our weekly schedule every Monday. And we also post our schedule in Discord for the week of when we're doing podcasts. We might do a Saturday evening stream next week, for example. And you can also go to thedropshot.com to find links to everything we do there. Our TikTok, our Twitter, our YouTube, and our Discord. And most importantly, our merch store, where everything is on a blowout sale, by the way. A blowout sale. So if you want to get some merch, we are selling a lot. So we might be out of most of it. But if you wanted anything, go look as soon as possible. That'll be going for the remainder of the month. But by the time the month ends, I think we'll be sold out of every single thing we own. So be sure to go there before that. And also patreon.com/thedropshot. We do 7 bonus episodes per month. Monthly hangouts and more. And so if you like this podcast and you want more of it, patreon.com is the best way to get more bonus content. And it's the best way to support the program. Even if you don't want to listen, give us your money by going to patreon.com/thedropshot, the best way to support the show. That is it. Thank you all for listening and watching. Have an excellent evening, of course. And as always, remember, stay humble.
Stop. Stay humble.